I'm like, it's not just about comedy anymore. I think people want to know you as a person.
They do. And I think, so what we're learning as well, because obviously I've the brand,
Yes.
Fabu, which I started a couple of years ago. And definitely like when we're looking into, so like saying trying to grow in the UK or all this, like people want to know who the founder of the brand is and what they do.
Even on a company level, they want to know this stuff as well.
Yeah. So like brands, say, I suppose, D2C brands that are consumables specifically, or people like to know who the founder is and they want to actually buy into the brand. They want to buy into the brand message, the brand story.
Makes sense.
Like they're saying the likes of Mr. Beast and stuff will, he could take over McDonald's because the kids love him. They're going to his restaurant openings.
This is a specific engineering clothes, is it? Sound engineering clothes.
Joy. Bye.
It won't work if he's not wearing those.
No. It's to titillate the guest.
I am titillated. And he bends over. He didn't even need to do the sound check there, did he?
No.
He's like,
I'll just bend it. You see my husband's arse, aren't you lucky?
He's like, do it one more time.
Only the privileged few have seen his arse.
In spandex. That was amazing. I got what I came for. Bye.
Okay, you can go now. I'm so happy. You came. Now you know how amazing my husband is. I think we'll just get straight into it, Aoife.
Yeah, get straight into it.
Welcome back to the Laura Dowling Experience podcast, where each week I bring you insightful and inspiring guests that will open your mind and empower your life. Before we get into today's episode, I would love to ask you for a little favour. If you like this podcast, and I know so many of you do, you could really help me out by giving it a nice rating, sharing it with your friends, and subscribing to the podcast. It may not seem like a big deal, but actually this really helps to keep the podcast high up in the charts, and that means that I can keep bringing you brilliant guests who are insightful, inspiring, and full of wisdom that we can all learn from. Thanks a million. Now let's get to it. This podcast episode is brought to you by the Brillo Cleaning Collection. I've recently brought the air fryer back into full rotation in our house. And when I say full rotation, I mean every single day, every single meal. The boys are absolutely obsessed. So the rule in our house is simple. If you use it, you clean it. And that's where the Brillo air fryer cleaner comes in. It makes the job genuinely easy. You simply spray it on, leave it for 30 seconds, wipe and rinse, and you're done. No endless scrubbing, no trays soaking in the sink. It's good housekeeping approved, meaning it's been rigorously tested by consumers and expert panels. And Brillo has 6 products in their new cleaning collection, all designed for the toughest household tasks. From unblocking the drain to getting your oven clean in minutes, not hours. So, if you're dealing with mould, limescale, or any of those stubborn jobs around the house, there's a Brillo product for it. Always follow preparation and usage instructions. Available nationwide. As a pharmacist and as someone who speaks to women every single day about their intimate health, I know how many women silently struggle with discomfort during intimacy. That is why I created Fabu Hello Joy. This is a water-based, non-hormonal intimate lubricant designed to relieve dryness, reduce friction, and make intimacy comfortable again. It is unscented, menopause-friendly, safe to use with condoms, and gentle on delicate tissue. Whether dryness is linked to hormonal changes, medical changes, post-cancer treatment, breastfeeding, or simply natural fluctuations, Fabu Hello Joy helps to restore confidence and ease in the moment. It can also be used during gynecological examinations to improve comfort. You can find Fabu Hello Joy now on fabuwellness.com and in pharmacies and health food stores nationwide. Aoife, what a pleasure it is to have you on the pod.
How are you?
It is lashing rain outside.
Yeah, it's miserable.
It feels like it hasn't stopped raining for like 8 weeks or something, doesn't it?
Yeah. And then the one day it was sunny yesterday. I don't know, this always happens to me where I'm like, oh my God, let's do things in the house. And then John came downstairs at like 2 p.m. He's like, what are we doing? Why are we
clearing out cupboards and stuff?
Oh, yeah. Because then when the sun hits the house, you see all the dust.
Oh, yeah.
And you're like, I can't leave till every last bit. And he's like, this is probably the last day. So he was right. We just stopped everything mid-clean, which is a bit stressful to do that. And then we got outside. So
I actually took a look behind my radiators this morning before I came out. So I have these long ones that take
the length. Yeah.
And I look behind them and there's loads of dust and cobwebs. It's disgusting. Like I need to get like this, like a feather thing that's going to fit into the in-betweeny bit.
Oh, that'll be really satisfying though.
Yeah, but it will. So I don't even want anyone else to do it. Like normally I give the lads chores to do, but I'll be like salivating doing that myself. I don't really like cleaning or
I don't like cleaning
either, but that kind of thing will give me deep satisfaction now to like see all of that go.
You know those ones they have on like TikTok, the cleaning ASMR videos? Because like ASMR for me, like just watching, like, yeah, take that away. You know, like wiping. I actually love people on Instagram or TikTok who do like their day in the life videos, but I want the most boring shit. You know, like they're like, and then I put my clothes in the washing machine and I take whatever and then I do a little clean. I'm like, I don't know why I love watching people do boring shit, but I love watching people clean.
Do you know the guy online that does he irons his bed sheets and with the ASMR
and you can hear the
and he irons them and he folds them and they're all really neat, and then he like lies down and does some yoga stretches. He's like your man from American Psycho. He's literally like your man, Patrick Bateman. And he's really good looking, really ripped. And then he has this perfect clean house and he's ironing the bed sheets and stuff with the ASMR. And
you can hear all the like crunching on the sheet.
Yeah.
What a genius. Okay.
Yeah, it's really, really interesting. And he sprays the pillow with like
okay, because I love ASMR.
I say he'd be a bit strange to be in a relationship with.
Oh, no,
he'd be afraid to leave your knickers on the ground.
Oh yeah, no, I don't want that. I don't want to be in a relationship, but I'd love to watch that. Yeah.
So Aoife, I was dying to get you on the pod and I was so glad that you would come on. You seem to have risen to fame very, very quickly.
Yeah.
And come out of nowhere. And is that really what happened? Because some people say, no, I'm the fastest overnight success, but I've been at this for 20 years, you know, anyway. So.
Yeah, like the biggest success no one's heard of.
Yeah.
No, this has come out of nowhere.
Okay.
And I think I can judge that on how many sort of messages recently I'm getting, and I even got emails from like people who like from my old life, let's say, like from like jobs I used to have when I was a teacher, people from school, exes, like old flings, all coming out of the woodwork to be like, what? Because I never showed any inclination. Like if you'd known me from like even 4 years ago, imagine if you just hadn't really heard of me or like seen anything of me in 3 years, you'd be like, wonder what Aoife Dunne's up to, and then you'd be like, oh fuck. So I think people are so shocked by it that they're all reaching out to be like, hey Aoife, it's great to see what you're doing. And like even friends of exes are messaging me like on Instagram and stuff to be like, wow Aoife, do you remember me from like 8 years ago in Bristol? Like so nice to see what you're doing. Yeah. And I guess I was like, what? I was saying to John the other day, I was like, I'm getting so many of these messages, and he's like, I guess it's so surprising because it's not that often that people who followed a completely different trajectory, which was just like teaching English part-time for like 15 years, and then all of a sudden, you know, within 2 years to be selling out the Olympia. He's like, it just doesn't really happen. So yeah, 3 years ago I wasn't doing this basically.
Were you doing any kind of comedy?
No, so I started 2.5 years ago, November 2023. I always remember the day I started was the day my godson was born. So I'll always remember those 2 dates. And I remember I was so nervous about doing my 10 minutes in the Comedy Crunch. And I couldn't breathe. And backstage, I was super, super nervous, or side stage. And then but I was waiting for a message from my friend's partner to tell me that she was okay, my best friend. But then she went into emergency surgery, C-section, everything. And it wasn't looking good. So I was just more concerned about her. I remember sitting there, and then as soon as he called my name, Brian texted me to say, Mom and baby are okay. And I burst out crying because I was like so relieved. And then I had to jump on stage, like wiping my tears. And I remember the first thing I said was, my godson's born today. And everyone was like, woo. And that was like the beginning of my career. I don't know, it feels so magical that like he was born. And then I guess my career was born at the same time. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so obviously you'd booked to go on, so you had an idea that you wanted to do some kind of stand-up, and you had a set that you wanted to do, is that right? Yeah,
I wrote the set. I remember I was in Amsterdam, that was it, for doing storytelling course for like 3 days, just like a workshop course. And then the only reason I got booked to do this gig is usually like in Dublin it's quite hard to get a few minutes, but I had dated the guy who runs the comedy club, and I just
pulled healthy bit of that.
A bit of nepotism. And I pulled a few strings. I was like, hey. And then he was like, but you're a comedian, right? Because I had been making comedy content online.
Okay.
I started off making content for students at the beginning, like in the lockdown, because I lost my job in a language school. And then I was like, feck, what am I going to do now?
Were you working over in England?
No, I was working here in Dublin.
Okay.
And then the pandemic hit, and I actually was the last one in the door. So they were like, it was in Atlas, and they were like, Aoife, even if we open the school, we don't know when we'll open the school back up because of the pandemic. And even then, we probably can't guarantee you work because we'd have to honour the people there before you. So then I was like, oh my God, I'm unemployed. My boyfriend had just broke up with me. I couldn't see my friends. And I was like, I need to work. Like, I'll lose my mind. So I started making silly language videos online to try attract students. And I did. And I got loads of students. I started teaching people online from my bedroom. And then, but then Irish people started finding my content quite funny because it was like, it was like, I was doing impressions of like the English language and like impressions of Irish people. And so then I was like, oh, maybe there's a market here. So I started making more comedy content, but I was still teaching. And then basically Katie Boyle in New York, she texted me. She'd never met me before. She messaged me in August 2023 being like, hey, I need a female comedian. Do you want to come over? And she had seen my comedy content. And she was like, do you want to come over and do 20 minutes in New York? And then I was like, oh my God, it's a sign. And so I had to like, that's when I called up this ex and I was like, give me 10 minutes. It wasn't like it was part of the plan. It was like, it just sort of happened. So I'm not usually like a woo-woo person, but I recently have started to believe in like signs. And I know most people like roll their eyes and like, oh God above. But it was August, same thing. I was in Tenerife with John. And at this point I had just been teaching and making my comedy content. I was unhappy with what I was doing. I was ready for teaching to be done. And I just didn't know how to get out of it because I didn't have enough money to retrain. And I was like, maybe I want to go back acting. But I looked at like the courses and Gaiety and stuff, really expensive, but need to take time off work. I can't afford to do that. So I was like, oh my God, am I just going to be stuck teaching English for the rest of my life? And I just didn't know how to get out. And then we couldn't sleep one night in Tenerife. And I woke up in the middle of the night and it was super, super hot and sweaty. There was no air conditioning. It was the hottest week on record in Tenerife. And the only reason poor John came was because he hates the sun, he hates summer, he hates everything about travelling. But I begged him to go on our first holiday. And I said, Tenerife is it's like the land of eternal spring. It never gets hot there. And then when we arrived, it was like 47 degrees. And all the locals were panicking. They're like, it's never happened before. John was looking at me. And I was like, I called our Airbnb host, do you have any air conditioning? They were like, John, we never need it. So I was like,
is John the type of man that goes red, just outdoors, gets windburned?
Yeah, he gets sunburned in the shade. Okay. And he covers himself. Like, he's one who like, it's not enough. Like, he's the most unattractive man. Like, I get such an ick when we go on holidays. After that, I was like, we don't ever need to go on holidays again.
He just plasters himself.
He plasters himself with sunscreen. He's terrified. Like, he's sitting in every lick of shade and his book is like up on his face. I was like, okay, this is not a vibe. So I think we had like woken up in the middle of the night and he couldn't sleep. He said, I'm so hot. And we pulled the mattress out to the balcony and we were still so hot. And I think, I don't know what it was. I just remember shooting up out of bed and like stirring John. He's like, what? And I was like, I'm going to write a show. He's like, what? Like, out of nowhere, it just hit me. I was like, I'm going to write a show. I'm going to call it Good Grief. And he's like, okay. I was like, it's going to be funny and sad. And I'm going to write about what I've lived through to survive grief. And I'm going to help people. And he was like, Grant, go back to sleep.
Go back to sleep now, please.
Go back to sleep now. And I said it, I never make promises to myself. And I said, I'm going to take it to Edinburgh Fringe. I'd never been to Fringe in 2 years' time. And then 2 weeks later, or a week later maybe, that's when Katie Boyle texted me out of the blue. So I felt like, okay, this has
for aligning.
Yeah, and then that's kind of how I got into it. And then once I did my first comedy gig, someone else books you for the next, and it's sort of, and then all of a sudden people are like, oh, she's a comedian, let's book her more. But it started with just this bolt of electricity into my chest of like, I have to write a show. I'm going to call it Good Grief. That was it. And then the next day, I had my first sign. We were trying to find a hat for my giant head. You said when I came in that I am smaller than I look. It's because I have a huge head.
It's because you're...
So online...
But your head isn't disproportionately big compared to the rest of your body.
I think there's so much back here.
You just look like you're taller online. So when you come in and you're...
Very short. I'm 5'2". Like, I'm so...
It's like lifting a little kitty up on my hip type thing.
And I had heels on. I'm even shorter.
You're tiny.
But then I don't know what because I have like small friends who are like small in every way, like they're petite people. They're like statures, or they're like little petite people, like pocket rockets. I was like, I'm not a pocket rocket. Like, I think, like you said, my head is in proportion, my big head. So I think I'm just missing, I always say to people, like, just ankle. Like, I think I just am missing something.
But you're a big personality, so maybe that's why as well.
Carries.
People say to me, I look massive on screen.
You do look taller. I thought you were much taller.
See, well, actually, I'm often so I wear heels, right? So I'm often standing in pictures with other women that are wearing, maybe they're wearing heels or not, but I look like I could eat them. Like, I really feel if I'm standing beside a normally sized woman, I'm only 5'8", but usually in photographs I look like I'm going to eat them because I'm a big, I'm broad shouldered,
maybe
I'm
that's
tall,
it.
so I look massive.
Yeah,
beside petite ladies.
And maybe it's also because you're like, you sometimes you're dressed as a superhero, so that might do it as well.
That could be it.
I always thought you were super tall. Yeah, when I met you, I was like, okay, average height.
Yes, yeah.
But the giant head thing is an Irish thing. Obviously, that's been proven that we have
big heads.
And I was in Spain looking for a hat.
Irish women have big vaginas then?
Is a head to vagina a ratio thing?
Well, like, I mean, we have to push the heads out of our vaginas generally before obstetrics took over and we can get all these C-sections that we can nowadays.
Oh, I wonder.
Like, you have to, because, like, so say for instance, like Asian women, if their partners are Western men, the baby's generally massive. They can have awful injuries giving birth vaginally. So yeah. So
my God!
So
we
I do
must
wonder,
have bigger vaginas.
But
or
then does that mean then
muscle?
Does that mean then that Irish men have big willies compared to other men? Like, it just, does one thought lead to another thought in your head the way it does with me? No.
So
does your big head, is that indicative of the penis size of Irish men? I just wonder.
But why would the penis size be?
But if our vaginas are big,
they would have evolved to fit them.
Yeah.
I also did that. Just explain to myself.
Okay, that's total tangent. Now I want to talk about your grief. Can we go and talk about all the deaths in your family now?
Big vaginas.
Yes.
But how did I get? Oh yeah, I was saying about the big head. So I couldn't find a hat, and I was like, I never wear hats because my head is so big. But it was just so hot. I was like, I'm dying of sunstroke. And so we went to try to find a hat. And also me and John were newish together. So I was still trying to be cutesy. And then I couldn't find a fucking hat.
And they're sweating.
Yeah,
this massive head.
Like, because he wouldn't believe me that it was that big. And then we tried the male section and everything was like just a little. He was like, wow, your head is fucking massive. And I was like, oh. I like stormed off into the children's section. Just needed to be away from the embarrassment of nothing fitting me. And then I came across a t-shirt that said, Good Grief. This was the next day after announcing I would write a show called Good Grief.
All these signs.
I just thought that was so weird. I screamed because I was like, ah! And John came like running over. Did you find a hat? Did you find a hat? And I was like, John, look. And then he saw the t-shirt. It said Good Grief. It was a kid's t-shirt on like a mannequin. And he's like, okay, that's weird. But he's so not like superstitious or anything like that. But he was like, it's a bit weird. He's like, look, if you need this to be the sign to get you to do something, like to follow through on something, he's like, then use it. Because I never follow through on anything. I don't know if it's because of ADHD undiagnosed for way too long, blah, blah, blah. And lack of confidence. So I think the signs, whether or not they exist or not, has helped me to like keep going. So the t-shirt with Good Grief was like, okay, I have to do this. And everything the last 2.5 years has been to make that promise to myself in Tenerife come true.
And was it easy to write the show?
Yeah. And I know it's so bad when I say that to certain people who are like, shouldn't it take ages? But I think the one good thing about not doing what I wanted to do for my whole life is that I've been doing everything else. So I have so many stories that isn't like me just trying to be an actress or me trying to be a comedian. It's like me just trying to survive in the world. And that's when you make the most amount of mistakes and do really stupid things. I went to see a storyteller recently. She was like, when your life is so bad and when you're in the middle of it and you're like, this is the worst anything could ever be. She's like, just say to yourself, I'm in the middle of a good story. And I was like, oh, that's such a nice way of putting it.
It's a nice way of putting it.
Isn't it? I'm in the middle of a really good story because everything I tell in my show, it happened to me. And even people come up to me and they're like, the bit with the runaway preacher, is that real? I'm like, yeah. Or like the bit with this, is that real? I'm like, it unfortunately all happened to me. And it's really funny now because I can look back and write about it. But I think it did come so quick because I just have lived a life full of mistakes and they're funny now. Yeah.
Jesus. And you mentioned drama and acting there.
Yeah.
You did drama as a kid, did you?
Yeah. Is that obvious?
Yeah. But I think people that are performers, now maybe it's not the case all the time, but I think people that like performing liked it as a kid in some way, shape or form. Yeah.
I think the reason we are performers is, you know, it's probably because usually it's middle child syndrome or it's something, and I have middle child syndrome. So I'm like,
Oh, I thought you were the eldest.
so technically my sister's a year older than me, but she has a learning difficulty. So I have oldest like responsibility, but then, yeah, so technically middle child. And then the next brother, he was born with cancer. My older sister
He was born with cancer?
yeah, he had Williams tumor.
Okay.
Yeah, so he was sick for like the first 4 years of his life.
Okay.
And then the other brother was born around the same time that he was sick. And Quiva obviously needed a lot of help and support. And so I think mom was just like, just don't give me more issue. Like, so I was like, okay, I'll be the good girl. And then acting just became this fun way for me to be like a little bit silly, a little bit wild, the kind of role probably I couldn't play at home as much. Yeah, and get attention in the right way, I guess, because everybody else was getting it home. But I loved it. I'd say I was 7 when I was on stage for the first time, and mum put me into every pantomime group, and it was great because actually, like, back then, like the 90s, even though it was shite in some ways and we were all broke, but it was so nice, like, because everybody was broke and nobody had that much money in the 80s, 90s. It was like there was no class where I grew up and no status. If you
Yeah,
wanted,
it felt like everyone was the same.
that's it. Because only now I'm like, oh, honestly, it's taken me most of my life to look back and go, oh my God, we were poor. But like I'd never, because I got to do everything I wanted to do. Like I went to pantomime class for like 50p. Mum used to put it in my hand after primary school and I'd walk down to the community centre. And it was like amazing local actors who were just putting on stuff for the local kids. Like it was amazing to grow up where we grew up. Yeah. I got access to, that's why I never knew that I was poor. Because I was like, I got to do everything I wanted to do.
And were you a bit hippie-ish? Your family?
Yeah.
Yeah? How come?
They
In
were
what way?
mad hippies. Well, Dad had a big beard.
Okay.
Check. And they were vegetarians. So like,
Are you still a vegetarian?
yeah, I've been a vegetarian since the womb. So yeah. And then Mum, I just think that's crazy. In like, so I was born in 87. And so that's mental in the 80s to be a vegetarian. And Mom and Dad, her dream was to set up, she was a nurse, but she gave it up to have kids. And her dream was to set up a health food shop. This is before like
Healthy shops.
health food. Yeah, there was no Holland Barrett and like anything like that back in the day. And so they bought a red like old shitty van and they started like selling health food products out the back of a van, like really dodgy. I don't even know if they were legally allowed to do that, but it was
Probably
like
not.
it was like, you know,
That was back in the 80s though.
yeah, you could just buy a van and sell food out of it. Like, it was grand. Nobody's going to ask.
You could do pantomimes for the local kids and not have police checks either. You know, I was trying to say like Garda vetting did not
Me
exist.
walking off by myself,
Yeah.
it could be like.
I remember the same. I used to go to dance classes up the road and I'd be walking. I took my little brother with me to mind him while Mum was working and stuff.
Oh, I was babysitting from a very young age, my younger brothers. I'd say 11, 12. Mum was like, that's it now.
Oh, I was 10 when my youngest was born. When the youngest was born, my youngest, I say, like as if he's mine. But I was definitely taking him on the bus to Nutgrove to do the shopping for Mum, just to go on a trip with him. And people definitely thought that I was like a really young teenage mother. Like really young. So he would have been 2, I would have been 12 and he'd been in the buggy and yeah.
Imagine
totally.
on the bus on your own
bus, yeah,
at 10 with my sibling
But
child baby.
No one would have batted an eyelid then. But now it's all this helicopter parenting.
Yeah.
You can't go anywhere without you knowing where they are and stuff. So
Yeah.
it is very different. So did your mum live abroad? Why was she so hippie-ish? Was it just...
I don't know. These things that, like, obviously because she's passed away, these are things that now that I'm older, like, you know, when you're younger, you don't care about your parents. You have no interest in them beyond their role to you. And now, like, these are things I would love to ask her.
Yeah.
Now that I'm curious about who she was before she was a mom and the choices that she made. But she did tell me she always wanted to be a vegetarian. She always hated meat. And she used to hide meat. Obviously back in the day, like, you had to eat your food, and Granny was the tough mother, and Mum said she used to hide the meat in her cheek, and then after dinner she would spit it out into the dog's bowl, or she would hide it in the plant.
Oh God.
Yeah, so she always hated like the texture of meat.
Okay.
And then I think Dad was even a musician as well, like he played like a sitar, like, you know, Indian style guitar. They were really hippie-ish, and so they found Galway because they were looking for a place that accepted vegetarians in the 90s and 80s. Like, they wanted...
Oh, really?
Yeah, so Mom's from Kilkenny and Dad's from Tala. But they had tried in Dublin, but like they were living in Dolphin's Barn, I think, and Mom was pregnant and someone broke into the bedroom and they had a knife in the bedroom, so they were like, fuck this, let's get out of Dublin.
Okay.
And then Galway was just Galway's so, I mean, it's still so hippie-ish and bohemian, and because of Dad playing the music.
The food in Galway's fab.
It's fab. And it's always been, I think they've always been at the front of that, like, and experimental and stuff. So, but like growing up, we had like loads of other hippies, like musicians and people in the house. There was always like big parties and
Loads of weed smoked.
loads of weed smoked. loads of weed smoked, and like growing weed. And then there was like
I love it.
and there was like this, I never realized like how bad, like it's probably cool now when I think back on it, but like when I was younger, you know, when you become a teenager, you just hate, well, everything. But like one of the people, and he used to play music on on Shop Street in Galway, and my friends, like we were walking up, they'd be like, oh God, that man's so weird. He had like dreadlocks like from every part of his body. This like old man's name's Will, lovely man. I don't know where he is anymore. And he used to have puppets, like, you know those like one man bands, and everything was like puppets, and he used to sing music and stuff, but he looked like Rumpelstiltskin, like, you know, that kind of character. My friends sometimes, when I was old enough, they'd be like, that guy's so weird. And in my head, I'm like, oh my God, he's literally one of my mum and dad's friends. Like, so I'd be like,
he's in our house every Saturday.
He literally comes, Uncle Will. And he has this like, and he's English. He has this big beat up, he used to have this big beat up van. And like, we were talking about child safety. Like, he used to come sometimes and collect us from school, because mom would be like, oh, will you drive and collect the kids? And then beat up all with fucking puppets falling out of the van and dreadlocks in a random English, I'm here to collect the kids. Oh yeah, of course the teacher's like, here you go, into the fucking blue van.
That's
beat up.
gas.
Yeah, and so those are the characters that like.
But that is funny.
With.
That reminds me. Our neighbour used to take us to school occasionally, and she had this Volkswagen Beetle, right? And literally there'd be 6 of us
Squished,
crammed into it. And also the exhaust wasn't working, so the fumes would come into the car. So by the time we got to school, there'd be smoke. And like, no one gave a shit.
I kind of love it.
There was no seat belts. There was no nothing. I was just. So I'm getting all these flashbacks now that you're saying about, oh, it's gas, isn't it?
I was at a wedding initially, and the mother of the groom, she was telling me a great story, same thing. She's like, we used to drive this big van, and he used it for work, like I think he was a carpenter or farmer or something, but because it was such a big van, some of the other parents were like, oh, would you not just take my kid? But should they'd nowhere to sit in the back of the van, like it's a work van. But because he started taking one of the 2 kids, and all of a sudden all the neighbours were like, we just take all the kids. She's like, next to, sure, he was like the bus driver, but sure, the kids have been rolling around in the back. And then she said one time one of the kids went missing, like not, and then they're the first person, they're like, oh, check Pat Lavery's van.
Oh, Jesus.
He wasn't even one of the kids he picked up, but they were like, he always has kids in the van. Check Pat Lavery's van now, he might have a kid in the van. I was like, oh my God, I love the 90s.
Isn't that mad? But actually, when you think about it, you know, car seats nowadays,
yeah,
it's a massive fucking rigmarole.
Yes.
To have the kid in the car seat, and it has to be bolted into the car, all this stuff. Like, I remember we had this yellow car seat, right? So there's 4 of us, I'm the eldest, and we probably all went through it.
Yeah.
But it would be in the car, but not attached to anything. So when you'd be driving around a corner, the car seat would fall over. So it's like, it's actually more detrimental to the baby's health than actually just a child sitting on someone's lap. Like, when I think about it,
it was so
the
free.
nostalgia.
I know.
And then the payphones and stuff. Yeah. Oh, that's wild.
Yeah.
So look, I actually, I do want to talk to you about why you are who you are today. And obviously a fundamental part of that is the fact that you were living in Galway, then you moved abroad. Did you go abroad?
Yeah, yeah.
Where did you go to?
I lived in Spain right after college for 2 years, teaching English over there.
Did you do English in college? Was that what you did? Okay.
I did arts.
Okay.
So, and I graduated 2008, which was the financial crash.
Oh God.
Yeah. So like, I remember our graduation, October 2008.
Like, you've graduated, but there's no jobs for you.
Yeah, he literally was like, some will say that this is worth nothing.
Okay.
And then he's like, but? And we were like... And I think everyone walked out of that just ripping up their, especially the arts. Like, if you'd done anything else, maybe you would have had a chance of getting a job. But all of us, like, were sat around and we were like, we've made a huge mistake. We thought this was going to be just endless. And so I was like, what am I going to do? And then it was Mom's partner, actually, who was like, oh, have you thought about teaching English? And I'd never, again, thought. The thing is, I don't think I'd ever.
So your mum and dad had broken up at that stage?
Yeah, dad left when I was like 14. Yeah.
Oh, right.
So they. And then I didn't, he became estranged. Like, I wouldn't have had a relationship with my dad since then, really.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Turns out hippies who play guitars with big beards, not that stable.
Okay, right. So your mother was raising 4 children by herself.
Yeah.
And obviously one of them had special needs.
Yeah.
And then the child that had cancer.
Yeah.
Had he got through it at that stage?
Yeah, but I think up until he was 12, he had to go up for maybe it was 6 monthly scans up in Crumlin. From Galway, they had to get the train up. But he's totally in the clear now. They removed one of the kidneys. He's the most normal of the 4 of us. We were like, how do you not have any trauma? even though he probably had the most, but he just didn't traumatize it. But mum took care of the four of us. I would even argue, even before dad left, mum was doing all the heavy lifting. So when he left, I don't think people were like, was it so hard? I was like, I didn't really know. Like, I'm sure it was hard for mum, the idea that she now had to do it on her own.
Right.
But I'd love to go back now and tell her, you've been doing it on your own, like most of the time. Like,
and was there signs that they would split up? Was there arguing of that, or did he just walk out one day?
It was arguing, and dad was, you could see he was getting worse and worse and worse, like more unhappy. But he was a very angry man. I think he couldn't cope that mum was, I think this happens with a lot of men, is that they go to, I think they find a woman, a nurturing woman, that they think, oh, she's going to save me from myself. But then when they get into a relationship with her and they realize like she's actually just magnifying everything they aren't, and that makes them resent. And then I think those men then resent those women rather than being like, you know, accepting the help, let's say.
Okay.
So I think that's what happened. I think that he fell for the fact that she was this nurturing, wonderful, incredibly kind woman. And she did try to save him. And yeah, but he just got so resentful. He ended up leaving mum for someone a much younger woman in the village. So it was, as a teenager, when you're like, you don't want anyone talking about you. And then to have that scandal and gossip when you're 14, it was
And was he
horrific.
living in the village with this person?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck, so he didn't just like leave and you didn't see him, so he was...
No, and much younger. Like I want to say 15 years. Like I think she was in her 20s and I was 14, like. So just the stuff you want to avoid at all costs. And I couldn't tell my friends, and these are my best friends at school. I thought no one else knew. Like I thought it was just us and our family and certain people. But people had told mum. He didn't tell mum. People had to tell mum what was happening. Anyways, one day was in, because I went to an all-girls school. You know, I don't know, did you go to an all-girls school?
Yeah.
You're just like so immature for way longer, I think, than girls who go to mixed schools. So we used to just play games after school. Like when I was like 14. And we used to pull each other's hair and see how far we could go, like pull each other's ponytails. And I think
I remember doing that, Aoife. I wasn't that immature.
we're so immature. And we like pull each other's skirts and we were so childish.
Oh, I remember doing that.
Yeah.
I was drawing penises on each other's
Oh,
clothes
yeah.
and stuff. We did that all the time.
Stupid things. I'm actually so, as much as I don't believe it's healthy to separate out the sexes, but I'm just like, oh, we were allowed to be just silly girls for like much
It
longer.
was actually good crack. Yeah.
We were just silly and goofy and we didn't care about what we looked like because we had no one to impress. But then so I thought we're going to play the ponytail game like after school. And then they all came in, I was getting ready to do it. And then two of the girls shut the door. And then one of them was supposed to run. And I was like, what's going on? And they were like, oh, I remember Gillian just shut the door. She's like, why haven't you told us that your dad has left? And she's like, everyone knows that he left her for the other woman. And like, why haven't you told us? But it was so nice for them to do it for me because I didn't have the language to be able to say it. I was so embarrassed. And so as soon as they said it, I felt so much better. And then we never talked about it again. Okay. But it was a huge relief that my friends, okay, everybody knows. That time of my life, 14 to like 17 was probably that was the most awful time.
And did you ever see your dad in the street or anything like that? Or
every now and then he eventually, like, it didn't work out with her either. And then he eventually left. And then we only saw him like sporadically every now and then. And then he came back from mom's funeral. That was like...
But how can... Sorry now, and I know you probably can't answer this, but I can't understand it. How can a man leave his family? Like, you're his children. So when I see how my dad was with us, and then I suppose my own husband with our kids, and they're so involved in their lives, how can they just walk out and not want to see you or reach out to you? I don't understand that.
I don't know if it's not like, I actually just normalized it, that I was like, oh, this is what dads do. And only now that I've seen my friends' partners, and they're just the most caring, wonderful fathers. And I'm like, oh, and then, or some of my friends' fathers. You see, also a lot of my mum's friends were single mothers too. There was in Kinvara, one of the streets in this housing estate, every single house was a single mother by the end of the 90s.
Was that because men had walked out or because,
Yeah, and a lot of there was like alcohol abuse and things like that. So just, I suppose we were poorer people as well. So that's also socioeconomic stuff and intergenerational trauma. My dad's from a poor place in Dublin. I think it was just stuff like that. Okay. Now that I'm older, I can look at it all, with kind of clearer eyes. But like, I guess for me then it was normalised that mothers just are single moms and dads are shit. And that's just life. Okay. And then when I meet like other people's fathers, like my partner, he just can't, same as you, he just can't. And he's also, John is such a kind, good man. And he just... I've rationalized it, and I don't have any resentment or bitterness towards my father. I really don't. And it took me a long time to get here, to not have that, but I don't. And no matter what he does, I just don't. I understand what he's like, and that's it. Whereas John almost can't forgive him. He just can't understand why somebody would walk off and leave their parents or leave their kids. Then his dad is same, kind, loyal. And I was like, oh, okay, so there are good examples of fathers out there. But yeah, I suppose I can't. Can I understand it? I guess it's just some people are just incapable of showing up like that. And then they must become super good at compartmentalizing. Because it's same for mothers too, who just can't. I don't know why. I hate to put more pressure on women than men, but like, yeah, it's rare. It's less common, isn't it, for mothers to do it? But when mothers do it too, I'm like, how do they just not want? But I guess it's just
we never know anyone's story.
That's
either.
it.
Like you say, you don't know what your dad's story was either.
Yeah.
And do you have any kind of relationship with him now, or does he know how great you are?
I don't know if he does. He knows that he has a daughter now, my half sister, and she is 10. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He had a daughter very late in life. And I think through her, maybe there's a bit of a connection forming, but I think I'm over needing I don't need a father figure in my life. Like, it's grand.
Yeah.
Like, mum, honestly, I'm still so lucky that I never felt lacking. I never felt there was any lacking with the love and the nurturing that mom gave us. Never. Yeah, it was all enough. So I think now I don't need a relationship with them. It's good. Yeah.
And are your siblings the same? Or are they?
Yeah.
Okay. So you were abroad, you went to Spain,
Yeah.
then you went to Australia, did you?
No, never been to Australia. I went to...
Why did I think that?
Where did I go? I went to South America.
Okay, that's it. Fucking, same difference.
Same difference.
Argentina. Far away. You went far away.
Foreign.
So you went to Argentina.
Yeah.
Oh, what are the men like over there?
Oh, they're dangerous. Like, I've been twice. So I went the first time in 2010. And then I went back again in 2014. And oh my God, 2014, I was like, Aoife, calm down. couldn't get enough of the Argentinian. It's the accent. It's really like, they say like, estrella. And it's so dangerous. But I've done now. I'm in recovery for Argentina. It's like, even my friends were like, stop. I was like, no, I will. Because they're the kind of men that work off their feelings. And as an Irish woman, like, starved of this intensity and passion. It's like if the opposite of an Irishman is an Argentinian. And the minute they meet you, they're in love with you. And they say it. And they're just like, oh my God, you're the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Like, now I'm like, ew, ick. But like back then I was like,
I love that accent.
Ju, I want to kiss you in the street. I'm like, okay, and I was like putty in their hands. Oh my God, yeah. But now I can.
And then, but are they equally as passionate when you're fighting as well? Like,
Yeah.
is it real Latino? As in,
everyone's
everyone's throwing shit around the place, and
I was dating
awful,
this
and then
guy
the mad
here.
passionate making up.
Yes, they love it, and they love it. They feed off it. Italians are the same. So a lot of Argentinians are descendants of Italians, so they're really similar. And I was dating this Argentinian here a few years ago, and we went to Spittle, and he didn't realize like. We were in the middle of nowhere, like in this B&B, and he argued with me. I can't remember. It's always over something so small. And he was like, I cannot believe you speak to me like this. And he like grabbed the pillow, and he started packing his bags. It was like 2 a.m. He's like, I'm going back to Dublin. I was like, good fucking luck. We're in Spittle. Like, where do you think you're going? And he storms off. And I was lying in the bed being like, will I go after him? Like, where is he going to end up? There's not even lights on the street, you know? And I went outside and he was sitting on the step of the B&B, just like, I was like, oh, how's your trip to Dublin?
Was he waiting for you to come and look for it? Was he waiting for you to come back?
I think he would have, if he thought he could leave, he would have left, because he needed the drama of like storming off.
Okay.
But he only stormed on when he ended up in the steps. You can't storm off in Spittle, like, you're just...
And then what's it like them I'm thinking like Irishmen they're not like
No,
that.
they couldn't give a fuck. Yeah.
Like, they're just
No, and I've come to love it now. Like, do you know your one who went to, Little Drowned Rat, Teresa? You know the one who came here on a date for an Irish man?
Yes.
And then he ended up doing the dirty on her. Because she put it all on Instagram.
Yeah.
And
tell people the story in case they haven't heard it.
Oh yeah, sorry. So Teresa an American woman flew over to Ireland for a first date with an Irish man, and it was because he slid into her DM. So because she's kind of like a content creator in America, so she recorded the whole thing. She says, "Hi guys, this guy slid into my DMs. We've been talking for a few months, and I'm going to fly to Ireland for our first date." And so many American women were like, "Oh my God, this is so beautiful. She getting me that." And loads of Irish women are like, "Here, like." Firstly, he should be fucking
Have you looked up the Facebook page yet?
Yes.
Are we dating the same man?
Yes, because I was more thinking. Someone asked me afterwards. They're like, "Oh, you've been skeptical from the beginning." Because I made a kind of comedy response, being like, "Firstly, can American women stop doing this? Like, stop romanticizing Irishmen, because we've got a good relationship with Irishmen where we keep them down, isn't that it? We like them to think
Don't give them too many compliments.
No, keep them down in the dirt, because then they'll end up like Conor McGregor. We can't. That's what we do. We're like, no, you're not good enough, and keep working on that for the rest of your life. And then if you fly over for a date, they'll be like, thinking they're Billy Big Balls, and we'll have to do things like, shave our legs, or actually have sex with them. What? And then when he ended up cheating, she publicly puts this out there. He cheated on her.
So what? She'd flown over. They had their first date, and then he cheated on her the next day. Or what?
So they dated for I think from the summer till now, till Christmas. And
Did she stay in Ireland, or was it
flying
long
back and forth, long distance?
Did he fly over to her?
He finally flew over to her, but they got a lot of stuff covered by Tourism Ireland.
Oh,
because everyone was so interested in this love story.
I missed out.
Oh my God, it was huge. It was all over. They got all over American TV. He was on American TV, because they're like, this amazing love story between. And I just think every Irish woman was like, waiting. We were like, there's no way this is going to work.
We're so cynical.
We're so cynical. And then this writer, this journalist, messaged me. She was like, hey, you've been, I'm just doing a piece on this. Teresa's getting dumped. You've been cynical from the beginning. Why? I was like, if an Irish man makes that much effort, slides into the DMs of a foreign woman, I was like, there's a reason for that. It's because we're done with him. So I was like, when I saw that, I was like, he's sliding into her DMs and she's not even living in the country. No. And turned out he was a serial slider, which is what she found out. Yeah, she did a big bit. She publicly well, I guess if you're going to have a public relationship at the beginning, you're going to have a public breakup. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But she probably benefited out of the whole thing.
Oh, she's benefited from the breakup too. I mean, she's gone even bigger and viral and stuff.
Okay.
And yeah, apparently he's been...
And what's happened to him?
Yeah, every Irish woman. Yeah.
No Irish woman's going to date him now.
That's what someone commented, he'll never ride again.
Oh, he'll have to go to Argentina.
Make it our mission.
He'll have to go to Argentina and find an Argentinian woman.
He'll never ride in Ireland again.
I say they're dynamite Argentinian women. Whatever about Argentinian men.
Yes.
That on steroids, I'd say.
Even if you walk down the street I don't know if it's like this anymore, but when I was there, walking down the street as a single woman, as in not attached to a man, if a couple walked past, she would grab onto him. Just I would see her literally grab onto her man.
Just in case.
In case I would jump, because I'm not accompanied by another man. And then when I started dating an Argentinian man, even I met his girlfriends, who were just his friends. They were so not friendly and not warm and everything. And I've met lovely, kind Argentinian women. And then I was like, what's going on? He's like, they're just so jealous. And he's like, we do that to them. We make them jealous because you can't trust an Argentinian man.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're super jealous.
Okay.
It's all so toxic.
And when you were with your Argentinian man, did you find him sliding as well, or was he...
Yeah, they're just so flirty.
Okay.
They're just so charming. And then you see them do it with everybody else. And you're like, oh, okay. This guy, that Ezequiel, who I was dating when I was in Argentina, he didn't speak English. So we were speaking it in Spanish the whole time. And then I was just so cool, because my Spanish was very good, but not good enough to fight. Now I'm so in English, obviously, I have very good control. Even yesterday, me and John had an argument in the car, and at the end he was just like, I just feel like I'll always win. He's like, you're just so good at English. He's like, it's just so unfair. And I was like, don't get mad at me just because I'm good at the English language. It's your first language as well, John. Okay.
Yeah.
Whereas in Argentinian Spanish, Ezequiel would say something stupid and I would just let him get away with it, because I would think about all the grammatical steps I'd have to take now to correct it.
Too much effort.
So I was so cool in Spanish. But he'd always say to me, he's like,
craving the drama though as well. So
sometimes he would just you're a cool girl,
Okay.
He just thought, oh, this is my cool girlfriend. In my head, I'm like, if only you knew. I just couldn't be arsed making the subjunctive.
Making all the connections.
The past tense, I just couldn't be arsed.
Okay.
You said that that's really difficult in another language.
Oh yeah, okay.
It's
and you have to think on your
you
feet.
think of the third conditional. I was like, nah, I couldn't be arsed.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
So where were you when you got the phone call about your mum dying?
I was in Argentina.
Okay.
I was with my friend. We started off in Brazil, and then our plan was to literally go down the coast, go all the way down to the tip of Argentina where we went to Ushuaia, and then up Bolivia. And then in Peru, I was dating someone at the time, an English man, God forbid. And I was supposed to meet him in Peru.
What are Englishmen like compared to Irishmen?
Again, my last two boyfriends are both English. but they are just more expressive and they are less repressed. So they're easier, I think, to be in a relationship with at the beginning because it's just, they do express themselves slightly better.
Do they?
Yeah, I would say slightly better. They're still like awkward and all the stuff. There's still men, obviously.
She said this and like turned up her nose like as if the men are smelly or something.
Yeah, men. Like someone else who I met recently, her exes were English too. And she's like, they are easier at the beginning. And I was like, yeah.
But more difficult as you get into it.
I only know now because now that John's my first long-term Irish relationship.
Okay.
It's when they don't speak and you have to kind of figure out what they're saying in the nothingness. And I was just used to dating men who are just so expressive. Again, not saying all the right things. I dated very explosive men in terms of like very passionate, but then also very shouty, angry, everything's drama, very high drama. And so I would say John's the first non-high drama man I've ever dated. So maybe it's the Irish thing. I don't know.
And do you think it's interesting that you've found your way back and it's an Irish man that you are settling with? From
Kilkenny, where Mum's from. You see, I was telling you about signs. This is another weird sign. Like I've met him on Tinder. It's not like I was looking for, he's from 10 minutes away from the town where my mum was born and loved and growing up there.
Okay.
So yeah, when we made that connection, because I knew he was from Kilkenny, but I didn't realise he was from where Mum was raised. I was like, this is so weird. And my friends who love
maybe he's your cousin.
Maybe that also could be it.
Like him so much.
No, his surname is I looked it up online, like Prendergast. Like it's like an old English
like
Protestant.
One of the
they were rich. Like my family were like, I looked them up. It was like all fucking dockers and prostitutes and stuff. His was
lovely. I hope you're not lumping your own mother in there now.
Although me and my brother, like you can't see it now, but we tan so well, and all my cousins like are so dark and they have dark features. And my brother's just like, he's long brown hair. Everyone thinks he's Turkish. People just start talking to him in Turkish, like Turkish people in Dublin. And I just think someone had to have had an affair with somebody foreign. I just think one of the grannies was a bit of a slut.
Maybe like the Spanish Armada or something like that.
Yeah. Or maybe just like, I don't know, some handsome
Viking.
Yeah, something. Someone came to Kilkenny and somebody did the dirt. And then didn't say anything.
Imagine the amount of men that are raising children that aren't theirs.
Yeah. I'd say in Ireland there's quite a lot.
Anyway, we'll move swiftly on from that. Did you do ayahuasca when you were in South America?
South America, yeah.
What was that experience like?
Not the first time I went, not in 2010, but I went back again into Brazil in 2022. And it was when I turned 35. I'd always been interested because when I was in South America at that time, it was offered to me, but I just was scared. I'd never I'd never even done mushrooms or anything. So I was like, I'd never lost control like that, or like I'd never done acid, nothing. So I was like, oh no. And when I went back the second time, everybody that I was traveling with went off to do ayahuasca, and I was still like, I'm not ready. And then when I turned 35, I'd done all this like research on psychedelics and healing and trauma and all this sort of stuff. And I knew it would be maybe, good for me, but they say you shouldn't do ayahuasca until you have an intention, because you could travel all the way there, wherever, like I went to Brazil, and there was a girl there who traveled, there was like 20 other people. She come all the way from San Francisco. It's very expensive. It's like $2,500 just to do it, plus your flights, etc. And so she spent all this money, took the time off work, the full week, and she didn't have one vision, not even a little bit of colour. And she drank, like she's this tiny like Asian American. She drank like, I'd say like on the second, because they thought, okay, we'll have to give her more. And she kept drinking it. It's not like alcohol. It just won't work sometimes. So it's not like you're flooding your body with all this stuff, chemicals. You could drink 5 cups. She drank loads and she had not one experience. And I think she didn't really know why she was there. She was doing it because it was cool to do ayahuasca. And so it won't work if you don't have the right intention.
What was your intention?
I'd spent 2 years prior, in the pandemic, really working on myself for the first time in my life. Like I started therapy and actually stuck to it for the first time in my life. I was doing it every week. I had honest conversations with my family members, like about things about growing up and things that I needed to get off my chest. And then I'd like done breath work, meditation. I'd done all these things and I was feeling so good, but there was still something stuck in my chest. This something, like I used to call it like black molasses. I was like, no matter how much I cry, I feel like it only gets this deep. There was something here stuck. And it sounded crazy because I could say loads of things. I could say, oh, I want to be healed from grief. And I also am so riddled with fear. I am terrified of everything. That's why I never did any acting. It's why I never did anything with my life. I was so scared my whole life. And then, but that's not what I asked ayahuasca. When I met the psychologist before, they ask you, what's your intention? And I said, I have something stuck in my chest. And I feel like it's holding me back from everything in my life. And when I did my ayahuasca, I felt something move, and you do puke. It's not a nice experience. I'm not promoting it, by the way. It's not a nice experience. And afterwards, anyways, the second one, I remember I was puking so much, I had to pull myself away from the group because you all sit together around the fire. And it was so wonky, and I pulled myself onto this earth, and I was on all fours, and I was like sweating, but I was like in birthing position, and it felt like I was like, and I was like heaving and sweating. And I remember looking up and the moon was like shining down, and I was vomiting, but what was coming out of my mouth looked black, probably because of the light. And I remember thinking, oh my God, is this whatever it is? Your brain's like obviously playing tricks on you. But the next day, I know this is all woo-woo stuff, but I felt something had unhooked itself, either some energy, some feeling. And after that, my life has completely changed. Like, I can't say, if you had asked me 2 weeks after doing it, I would be like, yeah, it was grand. But now I look back from then, 3 years later, I'm here. So has it, like, is the reason I'm back in comedy now and writing and out into the world, is it because I've finally like unhooked myself from that feeling, which was probably fear? I'd say it was fear.
Okay.
Just something.
And did you get visions or anything? Or was there...
The first one I had...
Were you doing uncontrollably crying?
Yeah, the crying thing was massive. The first session I didn't puke, and everyone else did. But apparently you can purge other ways. Like, I was sweating loads. But I heard this wailing, like, it's a really long trip. It's all like 8-9 hours. And so everyone stays around the fireplace, and you're not allowed to leave till everybody's finished, basically. And they check. Like, there's an indigenous tribe there as well. And they had like, the one I did was really well set up. It's like you had indigenous people, psychologists, and other guides. And everybody takes a little bit of ayahuasca with you, just so everybody's sort of similar trip. But at the beginning, oh my God, I hated it so much. It was like dark, and it was like there was a snake, and you're kind of on your own. And I was like, oh my God, my first fear was like, I'm going to be stuck like this. Like I've got psychosis, and I'm going to be here now forever. And I remember trying to find the psychologist, and I was like crawling because I'd forgotten how to walk. And I found her, like the girl she was kind of assigned to me, and then she turned into a mouse. I was like, oh no, the psychologist is a mouse. And then I was like, oh, I'm fucked. It's like crawl back to my seat. And I was like this for ages, like this is awful, this is awful. And then I heard this wailing, but I mean like animalistic wailing. And I assumed it was the girl next to me because it was so loud. And we're not allowed to touch each other because people are having their different experiences, and you never know what they're feeling or doing. You're not allowed to touch each other. But I had this need to make sure she was okay. So I remember putting my hand out to rub her, and then I felt all these hands on me. And I looked, and I was like, oh my God, 2 guides are rocking me. And then I looked down, and I was like, oh my God, that's me crying. But it was so out of body, like, which is amazing, because when you cry, as you said earlier, you're like, I cry when I'm sad, or I cry when I have something that's really upsetting me. But I couldn't tell you in that moment why I was crying, because I thought it was someone else. So I looked down, and I was like, and I remember being embarrassed and being like, oh God, I better be quiet because this must be awkward for everyone else. But I couldn't. I had no control of my body. So I just had to watch myself just wailing and wailing for hours and hours. So that might have also moved the thing in my chest. And then at the end, one of the guides took me to the fireplace, and the music was kind of getting softer. And she said, oh, do you know what song this is? This is the mother song. Because I told them that my mom had died like 12 years ago. She said, in indigenous tradition, we take the ashes and we blow it into the fire, and that our mother will send us a message. The great mother can be the maternal mother of the world, or your own mother, whatever. So I remember taking the ashes and I blew it into the fire. And then I've told the story 100 times and I get so emotional every time. And then I remember the fire flung up into the sky, and I saw my life, all the small moments that I had lived for the last 12 years, the moments that I thought were like unliving, like just being stuck, like just teaching English in a language school on part-time contracts, and like not living this amazing life that people get to live, just surviving. I felt like I was just surviving. I felt like it wasn't good enough, and that if mom were here, she'd be disappointed in me. And like, I don't have, at that point, I wasn't in a secure relationship at 35, didn't own a house, didn't have a good job. But in that moment, when I put the ashes into the fire, I saw all these moments backwards, like running into the sea with my friends and, late night dancing and being there for my brothers and seeing my sister get married and, tasting fresh coffee in the morning and discovering yoga, all those simple moments. And I fell to my knees and I wept with gratitude because I was like, oh my God. And I was seeing across the sky. I was like, my life is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was really healing for you then.
So healing, because it was like, I think that was my problem, is that I kept thinking my life's not good enough. And I kept running and hoping one day I'll figure it out and I'll get somewhere. And in that moment, all it showed me was exactly what I have. And I remember thinking, I just want to go home and put my arms around my life. I think and then when I came home, I stopped worrying about things. I actually just let my life be. And what's amazing is that because of that feeling, because I was like, this is enough, then my life started to go accelerate. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, but I think only when I thought, do you know what? If this is it for the rest of my life, I will be happy and blissfully happy. I think I finally learned to love what I have rather than trying to like have more.
And did you always want more even as a kid, or was it only really after your mother died that you felt that you really missed out on life?
I think I always wanted more. I think I'm a daydreamer by nature. And I found parts of our childhood really tough. Like I was on my own a lot because we grew up in our house was like in the middle of nowhere around farmers. And so I wouldn't have connected with a lot of the kids that we were next to. And like, so I remember summers being so long and slow, and my brothers were close because they were close in age. But as soon as like my sister and me got to a certain age, I matured, and then we could no longer connect emotionally on that level. And so I used to just daydream my life away. I'd imagine like, oh my God, I can't wait to leave this small town. And when I'm older, I'm going to never come back, and I'm going to be a famous actress. And yeah, I think I always imagined my life further away from where my life was. And in a way, I think it was a good thing, because in the hardest times, like in the darkest times, I did that too. And so it helped me get through really heavy shit, my ability to like daydream. But I think it also then became this thing where I was never happy then with what I had in front of me. I think I always thought, there has to be more to life than what I'm doing now. Or yeah. And it was about me being uncomfortable with me too, thinking that I was a failure and that I wasn't good enough. That was probably dictating most of my life as well.
So we did go off on a tangent there. I was asking you where your mom, when you got the phone call about your mum, and then I asked you about ayahuasca. It's my fault, but I did want to ask you that. So you got the phone call about your mum dying, and that was obviously very much out of the blue, was it?
Yeah. Mum, because she was a health foods shop lady, like she ended up working in a health food shop in Kinvara. She has like, she's just a picture of health. She was always like interested in the body. She did yoga. She had a 6-pack in her 50s. Like, what a bitch. Yeah, she had a great arse as well.
You have a great arse, I told you that.
I got it from Mum. Mum has a brilliant bum.
It's a pity she can't show her bum on Instagram. Actually, you should consider OnlyFans. She's in a little pair of jeans here. I said, I actually wanted to pat it. I told you that. And in a non-pervy way. I just like a nice bum.
Pat is so non-pervy.
I like a nice bum. Just a little pat. Just a little. It's like a little peach. It is like a peach. It's like that Instagram peach. It's just so you all know, Aoife's got a lovely arse. And if the comedy doesn't work out, she can always fall back in her arse.
My arse.
Literally.
So Mama also had a great arse.
Okay.
Yeah. So she loved it, and she used to wear little jeans and stuff. She well, this goes back to me being like, there must be a slutty granny in our genetics somewhere. Some Spanish man. So she was so healthy, so vibrant, and then she just dropped out December 5th. She had an aortic dissection. So for those people who don't know, it's when your aorta just breaks, basically. So her heart, I would say to people more romantically, her heart broke. But when they did the autopsy, because they didn't know first, and they called me to say she had a heart attack and that she had died at 53 suddenly. But then when they did the autopsy, part of me was like, oh my God, did she have was it something else? Like, did she have cancer and not tell us? Because that would be so Mom not to say that she was in pain, because she never complained ever. So I was like, oh, I bet you she had some like incurable disease and didn't tell us. But the autopsy said she was so perfect. Like, as in, it was a shame that she couldn't have been an organ donor or something, because her organs everything was perfect. Even her heart was fine. There was no like fatty buildup. It was just the dissection. But she had blood pressure and she didn't high blood pressure and she did not do anything about that.
Okay.
This is her being a hippie, did not want to take her medicine, did not want to take her tablets, her high blood pressure tablets, was off to herbalists and whatnot. And while I do also agree with alternative medicine, I do go to a herbalist for certain things, I'm also like, there's a reason those medicines exist.
It's very important.
And I found her tablets in her stayover bag and they were completely full. So I was like, fuck's sake. So part of me is like, yeah, if she had taken them, would she be here a little longer? Doctors are like, it might have happened anyways, but maybe not as soon. And she also internalized all her stress. So anyone who didn't know her well would have been like, what? She's so like free and happy. But like, if you knew her, you knew how much she was carrying inside.
Okay.
When she died, I remember thinking like, I'm going to be exactly like mom and I want to emulate everything she was. But now that I'm older, I'm like, I don't think she did everything. So like everyone kind of remembers the dead as angels, right? And she was. And people come to me now even still, they're like, God, your mother was so amazing, so wonderful. And she was, but I don't think she was selfish enough. And if anything, that's what I want to learn to be more of. I think if she had just listened to her body more and prioritized herself more, I do wonder, would she be here a little longer? Maybe. She put the needs of everybody before her own, like classic mother, and worked and was worried about money, yada, yada, yada. So yeah, I got that call when I was on a bus with loads of other backpackers. We were all so excited because we were about to go to Bolivia and we were on the border, about to cross the border into Bolivia. And it's so weird because like you're 23, everyone else around you is in their 20s, everyone's a backpacker and we're so excited. We were chatting to the English lads behind us. My friend was with me, who was traveling with the whole time. And then I remember when Mum's friend Musa called me, I heard his voice, so I knew something was wrong because why is he on the phone? And Mum was the only one who had my number. So I didn't even say hello, Musa. I remember I didn't speak. He has a funny name. He's from South Africa. He passed away as well.
Was he her partner?
No, he was one of her friends.
Okay.
They're like a lovely South African family living in Canberra. But my friend told me afterwards that nobody wanted to call me because they were all there. Everybody had driven down to the house and the ambulance had just called the time of death, and then they all looked around and they were like, who's going to call Aoife? And he did not want to do it, Musa, but he was like, oh my God, I'll do it. So he said he didn't know how to say it. I remember hating him for ages because of how he said it, because he didn't say it. I just went, hello. He said, hi Aoife, this is Musa. Your mum's died of a heart attack. He just said it like that. But I suppose there's no other way. And I didn't speak. I actually just threw the phone on the ground of the bus because I just didn't want to say anything in case it moved time forward too quickly. And I remember looking at Circa and she's like, who's that? And I remember just tired, like nothing else stopped. Like everything was still moving. I was like, my mom's dead. And she was like, what? And I was like, my mom's dead. And then she laughed. And she's like, for what? And she kind of was like, she didn't know what, because I'm obviously always joking as well. And thank God the bus was coming into a scheduled stop, because I don't know if you've ever been to Argentina, but it's wild, wild west country. Like you could be traveling 15 hours without coming to a town. So it's like, kind of Australia, similar to that, where it's just like, just completely. So we would have, I think that was our last stop till we got to Bolivia. And if I had got to Bolivia, my phone wouldn't have worked. And I was going into these salt plains and I wouldn't have been contactable for another week. So I would have missed my mum's funeral had they not called me right there and then. It's crazy how it all happened. Yeah. So that was, and then we had to, luckily we pulled into that stop. Circa came join me, and it's funny what the brain does when you're faced with shock. Like it doesn't go like, okay, your mom's dead. It was like, they got it wrong. Maybe my mum's baby sister had terminal cancer. So I was like, oh man, they meant Teresa. And then my phone rang again. And I was like, they're going to tell me, sorry, we meant Teresa. And I was like, hello? And it was my best friend from home, Gillian. And I could just hear her sobbing. And she's like, Aoife. And I was like, and it was just her voice made me go, oh my gosh, she is dead. I was like, yeah. And what felt so unfair was that usually I would see mom all the time, like, but because I was traveling for the first time in my life, like long distance traveling, I hadn't seen her for the last time I saw her was when she said goodbye to me in Canberra before that big trip, like 3 months previous. So I felt so robbed of it.
Yeah. And what was the trip like home then?
Like it was such a blur because I couldn't do anything. Like I was just in shock. Like we had to get a taxi from that random bus stop all the way back to the previous city we'd been in, 6-7 hour drive. And then we got back to the hostel we had just left the morning before. He was so lovely. I remember he gave us his office, because obviously back then there was no smartphones. We didn't have like laptops. There was like probably one computer that everybody could use in the hostel. So my friend told him what had happened, and he was like, oh, I have my office. I remember sitting there and I was trying to tell Circa, I was like, don't give up your trip of a lifetime. Like, you saved for years to do this 9-month, backpacking. And we're only 3 months in, like, please do not come home. And she was like, no, I'm coming back with you. And I remember being like, no. And I was getting really strict with her. And then my phone rang, and it was her mum, she was a secondary school principal of an all-girls school in Cavan. And she called me, I was like, hello. She goes, hi, Aoife, this is Sheila Coyle. Just to let you know, my daughter will be escorting you on every leg of that journey home. Do you hear me?
Oh.
I was like, yeah. She goes, okay, I love you, bye. And I was like, okay, I guess Circa's like, and in hindsight, I would not have been able to do it without Circa. Like, because also this is like 2010, you have to think about it. Like, it wasn't as easy to book flights. There was like, I don't even know if we had Skyscanner, if it was as usable back then. And also not as many flight paths. But also 2010 was the winter of the big freeze all across Europe. So a lot of flights were grounded, and like we were stuck in Paris for hours. So we had to fly 2 internal Argentinian flights, then to Paris, stranded in Paris for way too long, to Dublin, and then took us 6 hours to drive from Dublin to Galway because of the winter of the big freeze, because it was just like there was no grit or whatever. But I did my show in Belfast there a few months ago, and my dad's brother was there, like my uncle and his wife, and they were like crying after the show, and they're like, oh, so beautiful. They're like, we want you to meet someone. And then this man came over, and he was wiping his tears as well. And he was like, my name's Peter, you don't know me. But he said, I used to work as a travel agent. And when your mom died, he's like, your brother, who's one of my best friends, called me up. And he's like, I actually arranged for your whole flight path home. And he had pulled in loads of favours because the flight was full, and he'd basically got me home. And I was like, I burst out crying. I was like, oh my God, thank you, Peter. And it meant a lot to kind of meet him again, I suppose. But the whole journey was that. It was loads of favours and friends and people calling different people. Everybody got involved somehow to help me get home, because it took a village. Like, it was not easy. Yeah, it was amazing.
And I did watch your Tommy Tiernan interview, and you were recounting how you were driving home to your village and everyone had left candles out.
Yeah. It's the little kind of the mile down to our house when you kind of come off one of the bigger roads down to the Boreen. And yeah, I remember this was the most heartbreaking part of the journey. There was moments when I caught myself. Like, I remember Paris was the hardest because we were there so long, and it's Charles de Gaulle, and everybody was flying home for Christmas. And so people were so excited. It's December, and there was this big group of Australian girls. And I remember I was like snuggled into Circa, because sometimes the tears would catch me and I wouldn't be able to stop like really loud wailing, and I didn't want to embarrass people or make people worried or upset. So I was just like burying myself into Circa. And I remember seeing these Australian girls, and they were so Irish girls, back from Australia. And they were so excited and they wanted to talk to us. And I remember whispering to Circa, I've never hated a group of people more. It's just like, it's okay, you can hate them today. And I'm like, I hated their joy in that moment. But there was a lovely man. We gotten on the bus that takes you to the actual airplane. While we were on that bus, there was a heavy downpour of snow, and they're like, we have to stop here. I was like, oh my God. And we were crushed on this little bus. And I started crying again, and I was like, guys, stop. And she was like, come in here, and just try to be quiet, quiet.
People probably thought you were just reacting to the bus stop.
I can't believe they're stuck in the snow again. So I got on the plane, and then a man sat next to us. And he was like, hi guys, my name's, can't remember his name, but he was like, I'm Irish, but I've been living in Boston. I was like, oh God. And he's like, it's my first time home in a long time. Do you guys think I have lost the accent? I was like, yeah. I was like, you sound like an American prick. And then he was like, oh, can you help me get some expressions back again? Help me. And so we were helping him with his accent. It was really funny. And that was probably the first time the whole leg of the journey I had actually laughed a little bit. I'd forgotten why I was going home. So I was like, oh, maybe he didn't see me crying and he just was looking for chats. And then when I said goodbye to him as I got off the plane, he pulled my hand in and pulled me in for a hug. And he said to me, whatever you're going home for, it'll get easier, I promise. So he had seen me cry, and I'd say he made it his mission to make me laugh. Yeah. It's just, and then the candles on the way home.
You have me crying now. People can be so kind, don't they?
That's what I met on the hardest journey. I can't say, like, obviously me as a person, it was so difficult, but all I was met with was just like, even the air stewards on the flight. Like, I remember she gave me Argentinian chocolate. She was just like, she had tears, because I think the idea of me going home to my mum, and she kept checking in on us. She was French, and she was like, and then she put them in my hand. And she obviously didn't know I had a strange relation with my father, but she goes, "Don papa." She was like, it was on her France. She was like, for your father, like, these chocolates. I was like, he's not getting one of these fucking chocolates.
Fucking throw these at him.
Yeah,
Prick.
He's not getting these. Dulce de leche for my father, no. But just the kindest people. And I think my whole life's been like that. I think I have been just carried through by just kindness. And yeah, I think that's what I saw on my journey with ayahuasca. All those, that's living, that's life, that's love.
It's those small moments,
Yes.
isn't it, that matter, not the big deals,
Yes.
not the sellout Olympias, although they're brilliant.
They are great.
It's the day-to-day.
I say the in-between bits. Yeah, they're the bits that's your life. That's it. Those chunks that fill up the spaces in your day, that's your life. That's where all the living is. That's where all the madness is, and the love. And that man who whispered those things in my ear, I don't know where he is, and I'll never see him again. And I wish he knew, like, how much he changed, and how much I tell his story even now.
I know, but I think that we all probably in some way play a part in people's lives.
Yes.
And have a positive effect that we'll never know.
Yes.
But it's that legacy you're leaving behind you, isn't that right?
Yes.
As you go through life.
Yes.
And if the world was just a little bit kinder, then it might not be such a shithole to live in sometimes.
And how easy it is to be kind. Like, just that little, those little words, putting the candles on your wall.
Yeah, he did that for you, and you remember it to this day.
Yes. Yes. And the candles on the walls, like, that was just a simple thing those farmers said, like, that'd be nice now for Maria Beck's family. Let's put a few candles on the walls of the house, so that when they're coming down to her where she's resting, it'll be a little easier. And just those tiny acts of kindness, but how powerful they are, and how the ripple effect as well. And yeah, I think I carry a lot of it with me, because I know how powerful those steps are. So I try to be intentional with things that I do then in return.
Yeah.
And try to see, just try to be as kind as they were to me.
So you got to the house after your long trip home. I'm sure you were exhausted.
Yeah.
And your siblings were there, obviously.
Well, the wake was there. The day I got, we had Mom laid out in the house, because it took so long to travel home. They actually had to, Mom had a really long wake. Mom was there for she would have been in the house 2 days, if not longer, 2.5 days maybe. They were getting really worried, because they were like, obviously with the body in the house, you have to keep the house as cold as possible. Now, that was easy in the December 5th, because it was freezing. 2010. But they had to leave all the windows and the doors of the house open. So I remember when I got there, my aunt, who's from Dublin, she's like, "Thank fuck you're here." She's like, "We're fucking freezing." Because they were all living in the house for 2 days, keeping the body cold with all the windows and the doors. It's like, "Well, Aoife, fucking come home so you can close the fucking window." Thank God you're here. We're fucking freezing.
I love it.
Yeah. And then
was that really difficult for you then, though, to see your mother laid out? The last time you'd seen her was...
Surprisingly, it wasn't. I think I remember I walked in and it was like a movie, because I'd say the house was buzzing and just busy, because there was people everywhere. There was so many people came for her wake. But when I came in, our driveway is very short. But I remember I got out of the car and people stopped doing whatever they were doing, because they must have been waiting for me to come home to see Mum. And I think people were like, "Aoife's here." And my brothers came out. Yes, I fucking close the door, turn on the radiators. And I came in, and I think people were, I remember just thinking, oh my God, nobody's talking. And also because I think when it's cold and it's icy, even nature feels quiet, doesn't it? Everything's just turned down. And it was pitch dark, and I walked inside and I saw her there, and I think everybody was just waiting for this must be so hard for Aoife. But it was so amazing. And to cultures who don't have wakes, I don't know how they do it. If I had come home to Mom in the morgue or already in the ground, I just think I don't know, it would have been so much more painful. But to come home and she's in her, if they put her in her lovely clothes, and she used to wear loads of jewellery, loads of bangles, and I was able to fiddle around with her bangles and brush her hair, and that's really caught me. But I think if I didn't have that moment there, if anything, I don't even remember. I don't think I cried when I saw her lying there. I cried so much the journey home that I think I just wanted to be near her. And I think, oh my God, I think just being able to touch her hand one last time was so healing. for me. Yeah. By the way, I cry all the time. Don't even worry. This is so normal.
Do you want tissues?
No.
Are you sure?
I'm so pretty.
You really are a very pretty crier. God, John has got a lot in his hands. I feel sorry for you, John. So you bury your mum and you have to get back to living, but you also have younger siblings that require
taking care of. Yeah.
How old were your younger siblings?
So Jimmy had just started college, so he was 18 going on 19, and Phelan was still in school. So he was in his leaving cert year and he was just turned 17.
Okay.
Yeah, so we live out in the middle of nowhere, so like everything was so much harder because like he needed lifts to school, like or lifts to the top of the road where you can get the bus, and we had no money. Like I had just been traveling, like I hadn't planned to be taking care of my siblings, and because there's no debt cert for like ages, all the fucking bills keep coming, even though I'm calling them, like especially the mortgage. So the mortgage had to be paid because the mortgage protection, they're not paying that, obviously, till they're like, we want to be sure she's in the ground dead. And the debt cert didn't come for, like, I think another 6 months.
6 months?
Yeah, you get an interim one, but they want, if maybe even longer. Honestly, it takes a long time for the official debt cert. And I don't know if it's because the circumstances weren't as clear and it took them a while for the autopsy, blah, 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 blah. But anyways, I remember calling up the company's being like, I have an interim debt cert and I can tell you she's dead. And they're like, we don't care. And they didn't even change the name. They would still send. So we were getting like threatening, we're going to repossess your home letters, like from the mortgage providers and even from her credit card bill, all this sort of stuff. So I started teaching Spanish, like grinds, but I had no way to make money out in the middle of nowhere. I also couldn't drive. I hadn't learned how to drive yet. Even something simple like getting to the shop to buy milk in the middle of the winter. Well, usually we would cycle, but like a mile and a half, we would try get lifts from neighbours and friends. And then our local community set up a charity. They set up a fund for us, and everybody was allowed to. They had a board. It was all like very official and legally done. And I was like, no way. And they said, no, you're not allowed to have a say on this. We've set it up. Mum's old boss was part of it. Mum's partner was part of it. And they would transfer money into our house account to pay for bills and to make sure that Jimmy and Phelan get through college. That was the requisites. And they did, yeah. They kept going till Phelan graduated.
Oh my God.
Yeah, the most incredible people. I don't know, we wouldn't have been able to survive. Like we wouldn't have been able to pay for anything. Like,
and when the death certificate did come, were the mortgage payments that you were paying, were they paid back to you then? Did you have?
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah, that must have been what we got back then, because we got money back, which was great. It was like a chunk.
See where my brain goes?
Yeah. I like how
did those bastards pay them back?
Oh my God, I wouldn't even thought of that. That makes, because we got money and I didn't know why we had money.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the back payments.
There you go.
Yeah. So,
heard it here first?
Yeah.
You heard it here first.
Because I was
anyone looking for debt collectors, Laura Dowling is not only a pharmacist, she's...
I love how your brain works though.
I was like, no, because I was angry when I heard that they were still asking
you were
for
like,
money.
where's that money gone now?
Yeah,
nice.
So the local community
set up a fund essentially to a charity. And Mum had like no money, bless her. Like also then we started looking into things and she like maxed out her credit card because it was come to Christmas and she always went overboard at Christmas. But also she's a single mom and like, you know, things were starting to get really expensive then in Ireland. I think she was super stressed about, she was in arrears with a lot of stuff as well. She was very stressed about money. I think that might have been a big factor for her. Like, because it was like, and her pipes had frozen over. I think she was really stressed and her sister was sick. I think at that time in her life, she was very, very stressed about money really. And so, and then when she died, we were just thinking like, maybe there was some money somewhere. And the more we dug around, we were like, oh my God, don't dig.
It's actually less money.
It's actually less money. Like, don't ask questions. And then I remember when we got money, we got about 20 grand in total. Like Mom had no life insurance. She had no will, nothing. But I think she had over mortgaged protected the house. So there was like money back and probably the mortgage repayment. So we got cash back. And that was great because then between the four of us, that was enough money then for the lads for like college and stuff like that. And my solicitor called me. He was like, oh, the credit card company have called. So the Mom had maxed out the credit card at 10 grand. But technically she had no next of kin. So then the bills should just die with you.
Yeah.
But they are entitled to ask for if there's an estate. So this credit card company who imagine the amount of debt other people deal with. And they, a year later, called up again to see if there was an estate left, like if there was money left behind, because there wasn't when they first called. So they were like, but they still wouldn't let that go. So they called up. So my sister said, hey, so the credit card company have called and they said, ask me if there's an estate. I said, there is, there's 20 grand. So I'm going to pay off that bill. And I said, absolutely no way. I was like, they can, if they want, drag us to court and take 10 grand off 4 orphaned children, one of which is special needs. And I was like, and it can be all over the news if they want, and I'll happily drag this out and I'll ruin their pure. And then he's like,
that was dropped?
Yeah. Oh, it was dropped. They never came back again. And he said, is that your line? I was like, yeah.
Which credit card company was that? Tell me.
Visa. Wankers, yeah. So it's just, but this happened loads. Like we applied for like it's called an orphan payment under the social welfare protection thing. And it's a really hard payment to apply for if one parent is still alive, but you are allowed if you've been abandoned technically. And abandonment is your parents are no longer providing for you. Even
Jesus, I forgot about your dad.
Yeah.
Actually, so during all of this, your dad did not reappear?
No, he came back around the funeral time. I think he thought being around would be helpful, but it was just worse. And I was like, Dad, can you just like go away? And he did. He went to France and we didn't hear from him a while, and it was just much better because he was just messing. He was also it was just too complicated for my younger brothers as well. Like they had enough to be dealing with. So then I found this payment online. It was like called orphan payment. It's for children who are in full-time education up until 21 who have parents are dead or their parents are no longer providing for them. So it's like, okay, great, this will be for my brothers. And it's like essentially like a welfare payment every week. And I applied for it, but I had to get them to write letters and stuff to say that their father no longer like provides for them. And I had to get some letters from local people to also back that up, like the local priest and a few other people. I sent those off and then it was denied. I was like, how is that possible? Like we fit the bill. So I wrote an appeal. And they said, no, because we contacted your father and he said he's providing for you. So I was like, you're going to believe him over the children and all the other letters. So I remember being in college because I had just started my master's in human rights. And I wrote this letter to the head of the Department of Social Protection. And I said, I'm going to go to every single TD in the country and say that I told you the story. And we sent the letters from the boys who were 17 and 19. And I said, you went to my father and you trusted him over everybody else. So I said, you're refusing to give money to a woman who broke her back for this country, blah, 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 and her children. I got a phone call from that person. And I just sent it to office thinking nothing of it. And she apologized and she said, we're going to backdate it from the first, which had been a year previous from the first time.
But okay, so that's great that you did that. But Can you imagine, so you're well educated.
Yes.
Great grasp of the English language, knew what buttons to press. There are so many people that are fighting every day to be looked after and they get denied it and they just don't know where to turn.
That's why when I think about these things, I never think, my friends were like, oh, well done. I never celebrate because I'm like, the only reason, and I do this for everything in my life, I fight with tooth and nail. I know it's because I have this capacity to do it. But I said, we shouldn't have to in Ireland, but we do. For everything you have to fight. And if you don't fight, you won't get anything. And I think all I think about is people who are not mentally capable of doing this, emotionally, physically, whatever. They don't have the confidence, the language. And I'm like, it shouldn't be that I win because I'm able to fight. Mm-hmm. I want this for everybody. Like this is, it was that whole thing. But that's what I learned. I learned to be scrappy and I learned to just, those moments taught me, geez, okay, this is how it works. You push back hard. And I think while it helped me in that period of my time, because I was there, I was the pillar for everybody, it made me very hardened as well. Like I think it took me a long time to soften out. I'm totally soft again now. That's why I cried everything.
You're making up for up for all the scrappy.
Scrappy. I'm still scrappy though. I love a good battle I love a good battle.
I'd be a bit scared of you now. If we have differing opinions.
No, with opinions.
I'd be like John, I'd be like, you're going to win this argument, you bitch.
So I've said to some before, I always punch up. Like I'll happy let people around me win. But if it's to do punching up to the powers that be. Oh my God.
Yeah,
I love
fair play to you.
Argument. Yeah. Love a battle. Yeah.
Fair play to you. Your brothers, you were their guardian, were you? As such?
Yeah, yeah.
And did you not have to stay, but were you around until they finished college, or how did it work? Because
so I stayed in Galway until Jimmy. So Jimmy went to Korea straight after college, and I would have still been around Galway then. Yeah. So until 2000, 2000. I was kind of back and forth. Like the first 2 years I was at home. And then so until Phelim got to college. So when Phelim was in second year college, it was like, okay, he was living full time in college. He had the payment set up. So he was kind of grand at the weekends as well. And I went to Italy running after a man for a few months. And then I went to Amsterdam to work part-time in, I wanted to do human rights for a while. So I'd studied human rights as a master's while I was taking care of Phelim and stuff. So I thought maybe because I'm so scrappy, maybe I could also be a good human rights lawyer.
Yeah.
So I did a master's in law in human rights and then got an internship in The Hague in the International Criminal Tribunal for the former Yugoslavia. So I was working in like appeals cases for genocide, actually. I was working on a genocide case over there. And then they asked me to like stay on, but you need a lot of money to work in law at the beginning, like because you have to do a lot of unpaid work to build up cases and stuff like that and build up your work. So I stopped doing that as well because I just ran out of money to support myself. But that was like a little side hustle for a bit at the beginning. And then, were
you resentful at all of the fact that you had to come back and look after your brothers for the couple of years?
Yeah. I think not towards
they
them.
Act up? Like, were they?
Yeah, everyone hated me because I was. I think because I'm
like, you need to be home by this time and study for your leaving cert, or was it kind of?
I was like light touch in that way, but I was like, if the house is dirty and stuff like this, I was tough on them that way, I guess. And things like, you shouldn't be going out, you should be studying instead. But I tried to make it more advicey, but I probably wasn't. I think I was insufferable to all of them, to the three of them. I remember at one point we were all back home. Was it one of the summers? Like Jimmy was probably home from college and Caoimhe had moved back in. And Phelim was there, and oh my God, I remember that summer we absolutely killed each other. Like it was probably a year after Mama died. I was like, this is the worst. I think that was one of the worst moments of my life. I was like, and everybody was screaming at me. I remember Caoimhe storming downstairs shouting at me over washing. And I was like, how is this my life? Like I'm 24. Why am I in this maternal role at home shouting at my siblings? Yeah, I think I was just not resentful towards them. I don't think that ever hit me, but I was resentful. Yeah. I felt like I'd been dealt a really hard hand. I think I felt like my life is just a series of bad things that happened to me. Like, like I had knew people who'd lost a parent, but at least they had a parent left who was still there. And, I felt like I don't have any parents and I have no older siblings to support me. And I felt very like poor me for a while, which wasn't a healthy or helpful way to feel or think about my life. But that's why I think I stopped trying then to do anything with my life. Because I did my master's and I nearly quit that. I ended up getting first class honours on the master's. I don't even know how. The head of the master's was like, you've like a really promising career in law if you wanted to go down this route.
Like, nah, I'll do comedy instead.
Yeah, I was like, nah.
Talk about all the relationships I had.
I'm going to talk about sex on stage instead. But I just I don't know, I think I just stopped trying to live my life the way I wanted it because I thought, what's the point? Something bad's going to happen and it's going to get fucked up again. So I'm just going to live my life just really just a really mediocre existence. I thought if I save myself from living a truly happy life, then I save myself from being devastated ever again. And that's kind of how I think I did most of my 20s. I was definitely checked out. I don't think I felt things. I have to pee so badly.
Do you?
Yeah, is that possible?
Sure, go on.
I was trying to hold it in.
Oh, no.
And now we're going to have to cut your podcast.
No, it's fine.
Is it?
You go up and pee, just don't knock the camera. No, go on. Oh my goodness, and your bum's really sticking out now. It's very nice. Yeah, go and come back to me. It's just you're so small, your bladder just can't hold it all. Isn't that it? I'm glad that you said that.
And I was like, am I even making any sense? I think I was like, yeah, and then my mum died because I was like, I don't know if you do, but I do this all the time where I just ignore my own bodily functions to override. I always try to override them to the point where I'm like, I never go oh, I should probably pee now. It's always like, I have to pee this.
So it's so bursting that you have to take a second pee when you're there.
Yeah,
it's almost like you feel like
I thought it was nearly finished, and then it was like a whole other section had finished.
It was like you were like a racehorse. Only messing.
I was like, she's gonna think I'm doing a poo in her bathroom.
It doesn't matter if you did a poo.
Imagine taking a break in the middle of the podcast. I was like, she's gonna think I'm pooing. I was like, it's a really long pee.
Okay, just for the record, Aoife did not do a poo in midway through the podcast.
It was a long
pee like a racehorse. She's got a little small bladder because she's a teeny tiny girl, and she's got such a big bum that it takes up most of her body space. Her bum and her head and her little. So anyway, but
My butt was bigger coming out because I was like,
you were because you were bending over
Yeah.
to hold your bladder, and your butt was really in my face there. So I got a good view.
did it get on camera?
John's a lucky man. John's a lucky man. We'll have to do the outtakes for that now. Okay. And then can I just ask you as well, because you did mention that you ran to Italy after a man, and then also you do mention your Argentinian boys and a few other male.
Yeah.
I'm not a psychologist, but were you seeking out a male figure? Like, is this because, I'm sure you've done therapy, have you?
Yeah, yeah.
So have you been running after men to try and make up for that gap that your father left or not?
I don't think I was trying to make up for the dad. People say like daddy issues, but I was definitely trying to distract myself.
Okay.
I would say. And I think I thought that a relationship would save me from myself, like from my life. Because I think as well, like obviously probably because I grew up with the unhealthy male role model figure in my life, but also I grew up in the 90s and noughties where like what was offered to women in movies and TV was like the romance. There wasn't like, we don't celebrate like friendship and like our own resilience and strength. A lot of like Disney, like now it's changing. I do think like things like Moana, and there's no love story in it, which is great. But everything I watched growing up was a love story. And every TV show I watched was a love story. And that was what was going to save the girl in the end and make her happy. So I think that also played a role where I was like, I just need to find my love story. And then that's going to save me from my horrible life, you know, like Cinderella waiting for my prince. And then this is where the daddy issues comes in. I was definitely looking for somebody exactly like my father, which was terrible. So like someone who is not going to be a positive person in my life, like unstable, hippie, musician, dreadlocks, recurring fungal infection in the feet, like all these things. I was like, oh my God, perfect.
Just let me get some Caniston.
Yeah.
I love it.
And then I guess I was playing the role of my mom, like going for men who needed fixing. So I didn't have to fix myself. I think that's more the Freudian, like that's the psychological thing I buy into more probably. I just thought if you date someone who's in a worse off position than you, then you don't have to think you need the drama, and the problem is always them and the relationship. And you never, for years, I never had to think about me because my boyfriend was so this and so that. Oh God, look what he's done now. And I dated a lot of like angry men. So like it always became about their drama and what they couldn't do and how bad they were. And I never had to think about me and how bad I was and what I wasn't doing. And
when you say angry men, were they ever violent towards you?
Not physically.
Just shouty?
Shouty, but one of my exes, he was such a silent anger. I actually sometimes think like, and not in like a broody way, in like a, where's this, it was almost like that I felt more unsafe in that kind of anger actually. The one that was like, you know, like.
Seething.
Yeah, seething. I don't know. I think like still violent in a way, you know, to be afraid of your partner is violent, I think. And I think I was afraid of at least two of them. I remember one time one of them, he smacked the door closed next to me. And then I remember I flinched. And he was shocked. And he was like, are you scared of me? And I remember being like, yeah. He's like, I would. And then he kind of was like, oh my God, I would never. And I believe him now. But he was like, I would never hurt you. And I was like, I know, but you're 6'3". And when you shout and roar and smack things and throw things around the place, you intimidate me and I'm scared. And that was, I remember him just being like, oh my God. He was kind of more aware of himself then. He's since messaged me that this ex in particular. I remember like years, I'd kind of forgotten about it. Years later, I was in Barcelona. And
don't write about me in your comedy skits.
He texted me recently. I forgot to tell him he is in there's a particular scene. I kind of amalgamate a lot of the boyfriends and put them into this one because I can't talk about all of them in the show.
Because there's so many.
We'll be here all day.
Digging after that granny of mine.
I know, my poor family, like my aunts and uncles and my brothers have to come, and like my friends are like, how do you feel about hearing about Aoife's sexcapades on stage? And my brother's like, oh, she's kind of, it's my brother's in the show, like there's really funny stuff that he does as well. But there's one scene with this particular ex. I call him Henry in the show. And I forgot to kind of give him a heads up. I guess I didn't think the show was going to go that far. I didn't think it would be like a global success. And I didn't think I'd be on TV or anything talking about it.
Small ball bag.
Yeah, this fucking gobshite English guy. But he put Post-its on the wall. He found out that I had been cheating on him. And he
the drama.
yeah. And he broke into my apartment in Galway. Well, I had left. I don't know how he got in. He got in drunk. He drank a full massive bottle of whiskey. And he had written Aoife Dunne is a slut all over the walls of my bedroom. You're like,
debatable.
He's not wrong.
Debatable.
But I love that he put my surname in. We joke about it now. Like, it wasn't Aoife as a slut. It was like Aoife Dunne, just to be sure, even though it was in my room.
Sure, you know.
Just I know. I'm talking about you, by the way. I was like, yeah, I got it. It's on my room. But he's still so polite, because he's British, that he wrote them on Post-its, so I get my deposit back. It was so weird. It was Post-its all over the walls. And so, like, I didn't know. Obviously, I had stayed that, because we had a huge argument, blah, blah, blah. And it happened while he was living in Barcelona for 3 months, and he had stopped talking to me. I didn't know we were still in a relationship.
So technically it wasn't cheating. Kind of like Ross and Rachel, you were on a break.
I would say we were on a break.
Okay.
And then he came back and wanted to, like, basically live in, it was my dream come true for him to come back and live in Ireland with me. And he said he would do it. I was like, oh my God, it's finally happening. But he found out, like, that I had this.
How did he find out?
He found, so he,
condoms all over the bedroom?
Yeah.
Really?
He found a condom. And the thing is, it wasn't mine. So I'd moved into this room 4 months previous, and it's in a disgusting boys' flat. And I knew it wasn't mine because I never had sex with this guy in this room. I never.
Was it like just a used?
It was a used wrapper. It was a wrapper.
Oh right, okay.
But still, so I was trying to look for something. And I pushed the bed. Probably the first time I'd moved the bed in this house. Like, and I really pushed it, and it rolled, and it because I was like stressed about trying to find something. And I saw there was a condom wrapper there, and I went, oh. But I'm a terrible liar. I cannot lie. I am just too honest. And then he was like, what's this? And I was like, what's this? And I went so red, because I was like, he's going to ask me and I'm not going to be able to tell him. I was like, it's not mine. This I could say. I was like, that's not mine. And then he was so obviously so suspicious. He pulled me in. He was like, he said, do you tell me something? And I was like, oh no. And I told him. And then he was like, a blind rage and blah, blah. So anyways, so then the next day I went out and I was like, oh, I stayed at my friend's house that night. And the next day I went back in to get my things. I was like, I don't want to even go anymore. I'm going to move back out to mom's in Cabara. And as we were driving in, my friend's phone rang, and it was our other friend in Dublin. She was like, I'm here with he's bawling his eyes out crying. He said he's done something to your room. We were like, what's he done? And he's like, I can't tell you, but I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Gillian thought he'd shat across the wall. So like we had assumed way worse. I don't know what that tells you about what we imagined his character to be. We were like, he's English. He must have shat on the walls. He's so lovely, and we're friends now. Yeah, because this is so long ago. And then also he was hurt. Like he was heartbroken, and he was so apologetic.
A bit of a slut.
I was a bit of a slut.
He didn't know that.
I'm so sorry. And I was like, what have you done? And then I remember it was raining. We got into the apartment, and Gillian went in first. She's like, you stay here, and she like opens the door, and she was like, that fucker. All I could hear was like, that fucker, and I was like, what's he done? And then it's like Post-its, but like everywhere. And he didn't write Aoife Dunne as a slut on one Post-it. Each Post-it had a separate word. So Aoife Post-it is in a long sentence line. So I was like, where did he get the Post-its? Like, did he come into that room and then in a blind rage and then think, oh my God, I don't want her not to get her deposit back, because he is a sweetie deep down. So then did he like go to Eason's like again buying, still fucking seething like in a queue, and was it busy? But I had to buy a pack of Post-its.
The effort.
Oh, and he cut up some of my sexy clothes as well and hung them back up because he didn't want to make a mess. So I didn't know that he had cut up some of the clothes until I went to put them in my suitcase, and I was like, oh my God, they're all cut up. I was like, oh my God. So I put this is what I was telling you about being in the middle of a story. Like at this point in my life, I was like, this is the worst. It wasn't funny. Like I was not laughing. We were not laughing. Like obviously now I think it's so funny, and it's one of the funniest. The way I build it up in the show is really funny. And I texted me recently on WhatsApp. He's like, hey, just heard you talk about this horrible guy who did a horrible thing. He's like, what an idiot. You deserved so much better. Or something. It was like a really cute. Yeah, it was a really cute message. Because I was like, oh no, I forgot to give him the heads up.
You know what? I think as a follow-up to this podcast, I actually get on the pod and get his version of events.
Oh, he was so lovely. I would love you to meet him. He actually is a doll. He's lovely.
Oh my God. And is John okay with you talking about all these other lovers?
Yeah, John, I don't think he has a jealous bone.
He's very Irish, isn't he?
He's so Irish. Yeah, doesn't care. And I'm obsessed with his exes. Like,
Oh, are you?
not in a jealous way. I'm
Looking them up
fascinating.
online.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
She's prettier than me.
Yeah, and they're like two of them are, and two of them are even cooler than me. Like they're really cool musicians and stuff. And I'm always like, John, can I like follow them? He's like, that's really weird if I don't follow them. And I was like, yeah, but they're so cool. I'd love to be friends with your exes. And then I'm like, don't you want to like know about mine? He's like, no, he just doesn't want to know, but he doesn't care. He loves like my show. He comes like he's seen my show loads because I rope him into being producer and
that's cute.
tech sometimes as well. But he sometimes like I hear him laughing loudest like at certain bits. I'm like, that's John's laugh, and he's seen this bit like I don't know how many times.
And I've heard you say recently that you are childless by choice.
Yes, yeah,
which is a new term. No, child free.
Child
Sorry,
free.
I'm just pissed off half the fucking nation by saying that. Child free by choice.
Yeah.
And that was a decision that you made years ago, you said, isn't that right?
Yeah, I think I made it probably with John. I think it was like solidified, because if I'm true to myself now, telling you hand on heart, I've never felt maternal in terms of like wanting to have my own child. Maybe it's because I was thrust into a maternal position when I was 23 to take care of my siblings, and maybe I don't know.
Well, were you thrust into that position a lot younger actually because of everything that was going on?
Yeah, I think I was probably made quite responsible.
Have a psychology session.
Yeah.
Why don't you want to?
Why don't
it's not right. Do you get? I know people get that, because actually I had Vicky Notaro on, and she's child free by choice too. And she says, she gets the, but are you really? You might regret it.
Oh my God, I did this big post on it on Instagram, and how I deal with everything is I usually write like a kind of more poetic prose.
Yeah, because you are quite poetic as well.
Yes, I love poetry.
It's not just all fun.
No. Yeah. I love being, a lot of my page is quite serious actually. Like, and
I actually did find it hard to find a skit.
Yeah, recently.
Where the fuck am I going to talk to this one? It's actually really boring. Jeez, fucking another poem.
Another poem about her dead mom.
Oh, fuck's sake. Okay, she's dead.
Yeah, I actually was thinking about it the other day. I was like, God, I must do a funny skit. But as John said, because sometimes I say that, Sean, I was like, God, I work with the Tommy Tiernan when I did his thing. I had funny bits, but they cut it all out, and it was just 15 minutes of like me being fucking.
Don't worry, we're leaving everything in, even the poo for this one. Okay, the poo is actually going to be in the reel, so people will just know how funny you are. Okay.
And then I was like watching it back. I was like, oh my God, the whole nation's going to think like that's the most boring comedian I've ever seen in my life.
Never going to her show.
She's heavy. I actually genuinely was like, oh my God, I've done myself a huge disservice. Like, no one's going to come to see my show. But as John said, he was like, being funny is actually easier than being vulnerable and sincere. And, I guess that is true, because he's like, you're a comedian at the end. You know how to make people laugh. Like, that's a done deal. And he's like, it's kind of your natural reflexes. My natural reflex is to be funny. Like, even in hard situations, like I find it's my release, I suppose, to be funny. Being real and honest and vulnerable, I suppose those things are a little harder to be. But I the more I do it online, I'd say more people resonate. Because being funny, everybody's kind of funny nowadays. There's so many comedy content creators. But when I do like a real post, like a proper one, people are like the one I did recently for me and John. Oh my God, the amount of men who messaged me to be like, that was beautiful.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
It was like those, or the one about not wanting to have kids. That like went viral, I would say. And it was just like a little written text. But I was basically saying like, I think a lot of people think women who don't want to have kids are like almost like we're lacking softness and femininity, and that we're not of the caring nature. There's like a ruthlessness to women who don't. That's the idea that we have, that we're career driven instead.
Oh, such bollocks!
And it's such bollocks, because actually, when I have so many pictures of me with children, as in my friends' kids, and they're always like, so I use those, obviously blocked out their faces, but use those to be like, I am very much maternal.
Look at this. I got this child. I put her on my lap last week and got them to take a photograph.
It didn't even fall off.
Just so you could see how maternal I am.
Look at this. Look how maternal this. Quickly, snap this. Take a picture of it. But my friends couldn't. So two of my friends who love having kids, and they have like 4 kids, blah, blah, blah. They were like, they would see me with their kids and be like, how can you not want to have children? You're so good with kids, and kids love you, and blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, that's not enough of a reason for me to want to have kids, though, just because I like kids and whatever. I also love having them, giving them back to you.
Yeah. And actually, it's so funny because I have that experience now, because my little niece is 1.
Yes.
So I have 3 sons. They're in their teens now. And I absolutely loved being pregnant and having babies and breastfeeding. Like, I was literally like so obsessed. I loved it. But I'm so fucking over it now. And I love my niece so much.
Yeah.
And I go up and visit her most days, but I'll go and visit her for 10 minutes and go, yeah, and then go. Yeah. And it's such a release.
You're so over that phase.
So over.
Yeah.
So I can totally get it if you've never had kids or you've never wanted them. That's lovely for you.
Yeah.
You get enjoyment out of children.
Yeah.
They bring you joy, but you don't want them for yourself.
No, that's it. I was like, I put up the other day, I was like, my favourite thing about hanging out with my friends with kids is that I get to go home afterwards to my home.
And do you find that because sometimes when you have friends that have kids, particularly if they're young, they're very much caught up in their family life. Do you find that you've lost connections with friends? Now they could come back.
I'm on the back. So I would say to people now, because I have a good few people following me in their like early 30s, and they would say like, because I post a lot of stuff about my love of my friends, and I'm always asked, what do you think got you through everything? I always say my friends. So the show, they're like they're probably the main character without you knowing it. And it's funny, I wonder, because I wrote it in a more subtle way. So the story's about me, obviously, and all the shit that happens to me and whatever. And it's largely funny. I would say it's 80% just straight comedy, but then there's quite serious bits woven in. But the friendship bit is like sort of the backbone of it, but it's quietly there. And I was like, I wonder, do people get it? And the amount of people who get it. And the amount of women who text me like, what an ode to friendship. And I was like, I'm so glad you saw it as that, because that's what it is. And like, you know, Gillian being there, ripping off the post-its. In every story, there's a friend there carrying me or just in the background. I just wish there was more stories about what the importance of friendship to women. But that friendship is also a season. And I did drift away from some of my friendships from when they started having babies in like late 20s. A lot of my friends started having babies, and so I just went off and made they stayed in my life, but very kind of more, this was more distant, and I just made more friends that suited that period of my life. And now those friends who had kids, because the kids are like 8, 9, 10, and so they have more freedom now, and they've come back around, and then my friendship group has just gotten bigger, and some of my friends that I made in my early 30s are having kids now, and it's just all circles and cycles of life. And I think there's space for all of it. And I always say to people, you never have to stop making friends. You know, if you drift apart from your friends and you no longer have anything in common, you can make more. Like,
I've made amazing friends in my 40s. So I'm 46 now.
Oh, wow,
you're 46 last 2 days ago, was it? Can't remember.
Happy birthday.
It goes to show you, so old. I can't even remember how long ago my birthday was.
You've got great genes. How's that your mom? She's unreal looking.
I know. And she pretends, and she likes to go, I had Laura in my team. She did not. She just looks great.
She looks unreal.
And she's on my shrooms, so that really helps, okay? Hashtag ad.
She looks amazing.
She's on my skin, hair, nails, go. And my brain. What was I saying to you there?
You were saying about, you turned 46 and making friends. You've made friends.
Yeah. I've made amazing friends in my 40s. And actually, it's so funny, interesting enough, like, some of them are made through Instagram, and connections I made through Instagram, and then met in real life, and we just hit out. It's like Aoife Harvey, the physiotherapist that does the show with me. Yeah. We met on the gram, and then we met a couple of times outside of it, and then I was like, hey, I want to do the show. Do you fancy doing it with me? She's like, yeah. So, and I think sometimes as you get older, you can really meet your people, because you're almost forced into a friendship group, particularly if you're in school. Mm-hmm. And there's only a certain amount of people in the class, but then you can actually choose who is in your life when you get older, and keep your older friends. Keep your older friends too, and then everyone becomes a part of your life just in different ways. That's
it. I think it's just not sticking with. I think this is maybe this thing that people say, like, John said it to me recently, because he said, "Oh, you've got too many friends." Because because I've so many people to see. And
John showing a jealous streak.
No, John is like one of these boring people who's like, I've got my friends. He made his friends in college.
I made them when I was 6 years old. Yeah.
He's literally got his school friends and his college friends, and he stopped after college. He's literally like, I don't need to make any more friends. I was like, what? That's a sad way to live. I'm like, everyone I meet is a potential friend. And I've just started calling like people like friend now, even if we're like not friends. And then
I think we're friends now.
I was going to say, I was like, we're friends now.
Totally.
And then like, obviously I have like qualifications of like, old friend, good friend, really good friend, best friends. I say best friends. I married my I was the officiant of my best friend getting married there back in November, and my first opening thing was, people say it's really childish to have a best friend. It is a bit childish. Like 39, I'm like, this is my best friend. best. Yeah, she's like, Matthew's my best friend. But I met her a year after mom died. And when I was like most heartbroken and stuff, and I always say she was one of the best things to ever happen to me. My life was so heavy, and my friends were also like, that had known me, they didn't know what to do with me, because they also were grieving mom, because they grew up with mom too. And so they know now, they say to me now, they're like, we weren't there for you like we should have been. Like the girls that grew up with me. Yeah, and I think they were also 23 and they didn't know how to deal with somebody who was grieving. But when I met Beth, I suppose I could hide a bit of the heaviness at the very beginning. And she just came into my life like this. She started the masters with me. And I remember she came into the lecture late, which I'm like, tick, messy. So this is exactly what I want. She fell. So it was like the lecturer he was at the time, Dr. Chavez, is like the lead, like legal writer on international criminal law. So he'd be like in the international criminal court, like, you know, writing on genocide and stuff. And we had a lecture with this guy. Like, this was so cool. And she not only arrives late, she was supposed to go in front of him. She decided to go behind him where all the cables were. And she was wearing these like colourful leggings. And everyone was like, oh my God. And everyone at the lecture was so serious. And I was like, she's so funny. And she's like, I'm so sorry. She's like English Irish. And then she kind of fell up the stairs. And I asked this guy to move over because I saw there was a seat on his side, but I wanted her to sit next to me. So I said, can you move over? He actually ends up becoming one of my friends too. And he's like, oh yeah. And then I moved in and I went like this when she was running upstairs. And she's like, oh, I'm so embarrassed. And then I was like, oh, don't worry. And she goes, I'm Beth. And I swear to God, like I always say the world changed a little that day. And after that, because after the lecture, she's like, I'm going to grab a tea with me. She's like, I need someone to tell me what happened at the beginning of the thing. I was like, oh yeah. And I remember she was just so silly and goofy and she made me laugh. She used to drive out to like my house out in Kinvara on the weekends and she'd bring her duvet out of the car and we'd sit on the sofa watching like Gilmore Girls, and it was just exactly what I needed at that time. And if I'd shut that down because I was like, oh, no, I have my homegirls, like I would have lost out on an amazing like relationship. She's had a kid since, and I moved to Dublin and I met like even the last 2 years I've made a really good friend, Becky, same thing. Like I just don't think there's any
There's
need.
no end
There's
to
no end.
making new friends. I absolutely believe that.
Especially as women, we need it.
I think so. And I think you're talking about John and he has his friends from school and then college. And I think that men maybe are a little bit like that.
Yeah.
You know, they had their bros from their younger years and that's them.
Enough. And John doesn't even meet them that much. Like I'm also like encouraging him to like, he's also like, I'll meet them every few months. Whereas if I like yearn for my friends, like it is like missing them. Like, oh my God, I haven't seen you in like 3 weeks. And it's like, I feel it in my body. Like I miss them. I don't even know if I miss John that much, to be honest. Yeah, no.
That's another podcast.
Yeah. I think it's healthy. I think I used to like I said to you, glamorize and romanticize romantic love with a partner. And I used to hold it up on this pedestal that was going to save me and rescue me from everything. And I just kept looking for it in all the wrong places. And as soon as I demystified relationships and love, I found a much healthier love and relationship. It's healthy and normal and grounded and anchoring. But I needed to demystify it first, I think. And now, if anything, if I mystify anything, it's my friendships with my gals.
But sure, that's cool to mystify them.
Yeah.
Is John child free, or does he have a child?
That's what solidified it. I think I always kept a little window open, like a little, like let's say 5% of a possibility, because I thought, God, I can't like cut myself off in the man. Like, let's say I meet this most amazing, incredible man I've ever met in my entire life, and he's like, I really want to have. In my head, I always thought I'd do one if he really wants to, and I was like absolutely head over heels. Like I didn't not want it enough. I was like, I suppose I could scrape it together, you know. And I know that I'd be a good mom and I'd make it work. Blah. So when I met John on our third date, he was like very somberly, I don't want to have children. And I was like, oh yeah, and me neither. He's like, no. Loads of women do this, and they think I just will be convinced. She's like, I need you to know I won't be convinced. Like I do not want to have children. And I was like, no, neither do I. This is amazing. I needed you to make the decision. Like this is perfect. But then a year in, he sat me down again and just needed to be clear, because he's so conscious of not wasting women's time.
Oh wow. Because I'd say he's probably had a few that did think that they could convince him. Yes. And he's like, listen.
Yeah. And so he's also just aware. He's very kind like that as well. And just he's aware of things. Yeah. Because my friend recently, she's absolutely heartbroken, and she's 41 this year. And she really wants to be a mother, and she dated a man for the last 3 years, and he just turned around and was like, I don't. And she told him from the beginning when they started getting together. Yeah, she's like, this is a non-negotiable for me. And he was like, yeah. And he just turned around, and I was like,
turn around and left, or turn around and
said he doesn't want kids. No, he really wants to be with her. And I think that's why he kind of led her on, because he did not want to end the relationship with her, because I do think he loves her. But I was like, oh my God, that's so unfair. And she obviously, the relationship's over, but she's like, I feel like I've wasted my 3 fertile years. I don't know when how am I going to be? I was like, no, it can still happen. But it made me quite angry. And I was like, it made me then more conscious of John doing it so concertedly that time, because he was just, and when I told John about this, he was like, fuck's sake. He's like, that's why, he's like, I said it to you. You cannot waste women's time, especially women who really want to be.
Well, and especially that age.
That's what I mean.
Christ almighty.
Yeah.
That's the window, yeah.
And even because I met John when I was 36. Yeah, 35, 36. So it is the age when you have to be really sure if you don't want to have kids. But it's perfect because I just needed someone to like seal the deal for me. I was like, okay, great. I don't want to have kids. Perfect. You don't want to have kids. And he's a teacher, so he gets enough out of teaching in terms of like being around kids. And
he probably gets put off.
Oh yeah.
Probably why.
Yeah. Well, I think so.
I do not know how teachers do it. No, we can barely.
I think they deserve, as much as I joke with John, because like I'm like, oh, another holiday, but I think he deserves
training day, John. Yeah,
in-service training day last week, and he's got one tomorrow.
Yeah,
and then they've got 2 days.
Yeah, we all know what you're doing on those days, John. Right?
But they deserve it, like from knowing what he also works in a special school as well. So he's he's got a lot on his plate, but he loves his job.
And how do you and your brothers and your sister get on now? Do you have a good relationship with them, or?
Yeah, like it's definitely, I think, it took. I think what happened there?
I don't know, but you're doing various accents throughout the podcast. You're very good at taking off accents, so I don't know what you were trying to do there, but I'm here for it. I think it's better now. I think we're in a good place now. And then me and my brother, my younger brother, he lived with me in Dublin for years, because he was like, God love him, he didn't finish college, and he was going through like, he was just a bit lost, because I think it's hard to be a young person anyways, especially these days, and then when you've got like grief to like grapple with. So he moved in with me and my other and his band. We lived all together. The band, you need to write a book,
and all the girlfriends and my brother, and then Beth, who fell over the cable, she moved in as well. It was amazing. We were living in Castleknock, like paying half nothing in this like 5-bed, because we were like 2 to a bedroom. So I was paying like €250 or something crazy, like back in 2017. And I got failing a job in my language school, and like we got on really well, but for me it was perfect because I could keep an eye on him. He was in my life, and I love him, and I'm so proud of him, and I'm proud of all 3 of them. I think sometimes though I can try to save people too much. Like I said to you, in my exes and my siblings, I think I can try to step in, and this is what therapy has helped me. This is literally what she says to me all the time. You can't save everybody. You just can't.
Just save yourself, Aoife. Well, you have to concentrate on fucking saving yourself, okay, girl?
Well, they say the Ryanair mask or whatever, the mask that drops down from the thing.
Yeah.
Put your own mask on first.
Why did she pick Ryanair?
I don't know. It's like all the other airplanes. I meant to say airplane. Shout out to Ryanair.
If Ryanair want to give Aoife a free air flight for wherever she goes, whenever she's touring, she's here for you. She's here for you. Where can people find you and your show? You're still touring?
So I'm starting the first of the we're doing the theatre leg. So we sold out every show last year, including the full Edinburgh run, and it did so well. And then they booked.
What size shows are you selling out?
This size now, it's the Olympia, so it's like 1,240.
Woo! How many nights?
Doing one night, but we're going to have to add another one because it's sold out already. We have to. Thank you.
Brilliant to see.
It's crazy.
And do you know what is lovely? It's this. There seems to be this momentum for female Irish comics. Now maybe it's maybe in other countries as well, but I'm seeing you. I'm seeing Emma, Doran, Kyla, Deirdre O'Kane.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, Alison, I'm afraid to leave someone out now.
Yeah.
But it's this revival, and you're funny fuckers. Like, you make us laugh, and it's wonderful. And we seem to be on this, and that's brilliant. Sound like the Olympia. Jesus, congratulations!
Thank you so much. I think
are you making those money?
I think it was my friend's mom asked me that the other day.
Is that a rude question?
My friend texted me being like, Mom has asked me 5 times, is Aoife making money yet?
You're making money, though.
I think they've just been eternally broke. So I think this year, if I sell well with the rest of the shows at the end, it'll be the first year I'll have made actual money.
Coin.
Yeah.
Deadly.
Yeah. So I've been on 30 to 40k my entire life. So I was like, oh my God, I'll actually go above whatever I've been on.
Oh, that's brilliant.
With something that I love and my own words and my own show. It's a dream come true. I can't believe that from 3 years ago where I was like, how am I ever going to get out of teaching to this? And I'm selling out the Olympia, and we have to keep adding more dates because we just keep selling.
And do you have
out.
brands now approaching you as well that want to do sponsorship deals with you in that?
Yeah,
or
but not that many, because I'm working with my manager with collab agency. She's amazing, and she doesn't want to ruin my.
sully it, I know.
That's it.
But like, honestly, guys, if anyone out there owns jeans, I had the jeans brand. This girl has the best arse, and I don't think that would sully your brand. If anything, I think it would elevate you.
Do you think?
Yes. Okay.
Okay, I'll take it.
I'm just saying. But yeah, I get that, because you want to make a name for yourself in comedy. You don't want to be a brand ambassador type person. So sorry. Maybe I was putting words in your mouth. So so I said you don't want to be a brand ambassador because nobody needs to make money. So maybe there is an opportunity there for you to approach her agent, and you may get an email back. You may get an email back, depending on what it is.
I ran into legal difficulty a few months ago because I went for the far right. Online. I called them out all the time.
Oh, sorry, because I thought you approached them with your CV.
Yeah, I want them to sponsor me, brand deal.
What?
I thought the far right could sponsor me, so I went for them online, as I always do. I always call out stuff like that. Again, I'm still quite scrappy, as I said, and
that's why my mum said, "Oh, so," because mum always asks me who my podcast is, because she's always interested, and she goes, "Oh, Aoife," she goes, "and she's a comedian, isn't she?" I was like, "She's a bit controversial, isn't she?" Yes, I was like, what? She's not controversial. Is it controversial to talk about your dead mom? What?
But maybe this is why brand deals don't cover me, because I will call stuff out. But again, I'll always punch up. I'm not like going down to other people. But I went for the wrong person, and then they tried.
What do you mean the wrong person?
As in somebody who's just very well connected. I'm not going to say the name. People know, if they know the scandal, they'll know the name. I'm not going to say the name just to legally protect myself.
Okay, yeah.
I'll tell you afterwards.
Yeah.
So anyways, went for him online, and he has a big following, Irish guy. And then he sent me a solicitor's letter for defamation.
Oh.
And I was like, oh shit. Like my scrappiness is really, because and then I called the different lawyers. Like one socialist lawyer was like, let's fight this. Like we'll take this to the High Court. But I was like, oh my God, I don't want to become like, this will be a battleground for the culture wars. Like imagine. And then I was like, I was already getting rape and death threats just from being online and calling out this guy online. Like, oh, I got piled on. I lost access to my Instagram account. This was like just before December.
How did you lose access to your Instagram
Because
account?
they mass reported me.
You got rape threats.
Yes.
And death threats.
People were like, can't wait to come to your show, you skanky feral cunt. I took that one. I printed out the serious ones. I had 1,000 DMs of the most horrific things said to me. I kept sharing them as well onto my stories just to show people, like, and all I did was say, why are there no protests for all these stories? And then I shared stories from 1 week in the news of abuse towards women and children in Ireland. And I said, where's the protest for this? That's all I did. And just basically called out the hypocrisy of these guys. And anyways, became the target of a pylon, as they call it. So pylon is when thousands of accounts come, send you, like, they go through all your videos, like commenting. I had to like spend days cleaning out comment sections because they would say the most nasty things. Hope you get raped by a Muslim. Like on my videos about like my mom and stuff, you know, like, oh yeah, it was like horrendous. And then because they mass reported me, my account got shut down. Took me over a week to get it back. I had a brand deal. I had 2 brand deals for Christmas, and they pulled out because they were like, she doesn't have an Instagram account. And they were worried that the far right would come for their brand as well. So this all around Christmas. It was super stressful. And then I got hit with a defamation letter. I was like, oh fuck. But I went to, this is coming back to the money thing. So my solicitor was like, so I went with my corporate solicitor guy, and he was like, okay, do you own your house? Are you living with your partner? I was like, no. He's like, you're not married? I was like, no. He's like, okay, what do you own? I was like, nothing. He's like, your car? I was like, oh, no, that's on a car loan. And he's like, so you own nothing? And I was like, yeah. He's like, brilliant. I was like, why? And he's like, oh, because even if they try to take you, he's like, you've nothing literally to pay them, so this is good. I was like, okay, great. My whole life has led up to this moment
where no one can see me because I have nothing to see.
It's like, perfect. I'm not married. I don't own anything. And if anything, it's worked perfectly because you can't sue me. I'm unsuable because I own nothing. I remember just being the moment of like, oh, I guess
actually my life is cool.
My life is amazing. But I remember the sister being like, you just had to double check. So you own literally nothing and you're nearly 39. I was like, yeah, my car is on loan as well. He's like, okay, great. I was like, okay, perfect. But turned out through the pylon, I had a defamation suit. So we just threatened to counter.
Okay.
And then it just went away.
Okay.
I just agreed never to talk about him again. Which is why I'm not
It's going really well.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, maybe it's great not having any money. So on the no money thing, like I literally own nothing. So it would be nice to have some brand deals. Yes, not far right brand deals.
No, she doesn't want them. What advice did you give young people today, Aoife?
Oh, you gave me this question. I didn't even think about it.
No one, very few people
do their homework.
You know what? It's actually better if you do it off the top of your head anyway, because it's more real. Because the people that ChatGPT it then just come out with like the same shit. Like 6 people in the last 6 weeks have come back with the same stuff.
The ChatGPT answer.
I'm on the Lower Down Experience podcast. What way do I answer the last 2 questions? So ChatGPT is just sending the same shite.
Well, this is going to be the shite from the top of my head. Okay, so young people, this girl came to my show. She was in her, I think she was 26. Usually my demographic is 30s plus. And she came and she was like wiping her tears. That was really lovely. I was like, oh, a young person. And she said, I really needed to see your show because I wanted to be an actress my whole life. And I've wanted something my whole life. And then she's like, and now I'm 26 and it's not really happening for me. But she goes, that's the least scary thing. And she goes, at the moment, I'm just worried that I don't want what I've been wanting in my whole life. And she's like, so then I'm like, what am I supposed to do? I was like, oh my God, firstly, you're so young. And then secondly, I was like, if you just go and do anything else but what you think you want, like what I did, I was like, just go out and live. It doesn't matter. Collect stories. And then the red hot doing will come. But you don't need to have all the answers now. And if it comes in 5 years or 10 years or when you're nearly 40, you can just decide, you know what, I'm going to be a comedian and sell out the Olympia. Like, I wasn't doing it before. So I'm so glad I wasn't doing it before. I'm so glad I was out in the world building the most incredible friendships. I'm so glad I was out in the world making loads of mistakes and being in the middle of really good stories. I'm so glad I didn't know what I wanted for a really long time because it forced me to just live instead.
So you don't need to know, just live.
Yeah, just get out into it. Like, you know, when you meet people who are so obsessed, like there's a few comedians, I meet them because comedians usually love comedy, and I don't consider myself a proper comedian, and I'm not a big stand-up fan actually. And so when I meet like proper stand-up nerds and they're obsessed and they eat, sleep, dream shit comedy, but they've always wanted it, like since they were 17, and so that makes them kind of like uninteresting because it's like all they know is that. And then when you meet people who are just, yeah, some of the most interesting people I've met are people who are a bit wayward and kind of stumbled into things, and I think that makes you a more interesting person. So want less, do more.
Good girl.
Okay, girl.
And what's the meaning of life?
Oh, to know love exists. Yeah. I know it's so simple, but I was with John there like a few months back and I was so overcome with love for him, but not just for him. It was like it wasn't a few months. I always say a few months back, and it could have been like 10 years ago. It was not this summer. It was the summer before, and my best friend's mom had passed away, and her funeral was so lovely. Like it was Gillian, it was her mum. It was like all our friends and family were there and celebrating her mum's beautiful life, and her mum's husband had died years before and she never remarried. She was full sure when she died she's going to join John in heaven. And so it was beautiful like when she died because everybody was like, oh, she's going to go meet John in her heaven, basically. And I remember the funeral was just beautiful. It's just stories of the life she lived. She was really into sea swimming. But she lived just in pure love all the time. And there was nothing, all anyone spoke about, they didn't speak about her job. She was an amazing vet. They didn't speak about the money she had or the house she had. They just talked about the love. And I remember driving home with John. We go back into our house, and at that point, 2 years ago, I was like unsure of what I was doing. Still, I was kind of just into comedy, I was feeling really insecure. And I remember holding on to John's hand. I was like, if this is it, if I died tomorrow, but I got to know from sitting in that room with all those people that this exists through these people and through my love for you, I was like, that's enough. I think we're only lucky if we get to experience it over and over again. But I think we are here just to know and to feel it once. And if you get to do it for your whole life, you're just the most lucky person in the whole world. And so even though I only had mom for 23 years, I got to experience her love for those 23 years. And that's enough. Yeah. So I think just knowing it exists is enough.
Oh, Aoife, that's lovely. Oh, I'm going to cry again. Okay, thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
This podcast episode is brought to you by the Brillo Cleaning Collection. I've recently brought the air fryer back into full rotation in our house. And when I say full rotation, I mean every single day, every single meal. The boys are absolutely obsessed. So the rule in our house is simple. If you use it, you clean it. And that's where the Brillo air fryer cleaner comes in. It makes the job genuinely easy. You simply spray it on, leave it for 30 seconds, wipe and rinse. And you're done. No endless scrubbing, no trays soaking in the sink. It's Good Housekeeping approved, meaning it's been rigorously tested by consumers and expert panels. And Brillo has 6 products in their new cleaning collection, all designed for the toughest household tasks. From unblocking the drain to getting your oven clean in minutes, not hours. So, if you're dealing with mould, limescale, or any of those stubborn jobs around the house, there's a Brillo product for it. Always follow preparation and usage instructions. Available nationwide.